I broadcast. Whenever I have time, basically that's when I. So yeah, just a lot to recap. We had the rooftop show last Saturday. We had the Jimmy Buffett died. I mean, for Christ's sake. Who was the other guy? Steve Harwell from Smash Mouth died. Yeah, so we had a tribute to fallen heroes on Monday. Thursday, wasn't there something on Thursday? What the hell happened on Thursday? Or no, the Brooklyn Rail reading was on Wednesday. That was probably the biggest reading in my career. Um, and then last night was 9 at 9. So last night, I don't know. I just had a massive allergy. Oh, thank you. Jeez, wow, we have two people and a thumbs up already. That never happens. I've been struggling to even string one viewer together for years. Finally, people are waking up to the live streams. Come on. Yeah, so I'm just going to. I've got 2 likes. Oh my god, I can't even handle this. I might just have to quit now. There's no way. There's no way I can live up to this. Wow. Jeez. Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to thank the Academy. I'd like to thank Weezer most of all. Of course, Weezer continues. I apologize. We had a rehearsal. That's what we did on Thursday. We rehearsed a play, for crying out loud. That's the first time I've rehearsed a play in like a decade. My return to the theater. The theater is a lot like poetry. Maybe we'll talk about that. The theater is like this kind of hypothetical thing that exists, like the state or something. And leaving the theater, joining the theater, it's kind of like poetry. The way that poetry is like this community that kind of upholds itself. And, that's all that matters. I mean, we're kind of awash in a celebrity culture that's kind of belittling, and a money culture, if you don't have billions of, if you're not Elon, if you're not at the Met Gala, you're just a piece of shit or whatever. So, or if you're not some kind of, I mean, the bios, if you don't have a bunch of clout, if you're not just clout bombing everybody all the time, it's all about clout. Nobody cares about, I don't know, we're all looking for the golden ticket. Does anybody have it? I mean, to be honest, not that many people, I don't know, have the super magic maybe, I don't know. But it's important that we have a community of artists and a culture. That's what a culture is, you know what I mean? We're showing our films, we're screening our films. We figured out finally how to work the projector at Young Ethel, so we exposed some of the audience to our vlogs. That's the 4th gig we've done at Young Ethel's. God bless them. Thank you, Young Ethel's, for allowing us to be in residence and to do our thing, our little performance laboratory. I mean, last night I was feeling like total shit. I'm sorry if I was cranky or if I was mean to anybody. My head felt like I was in pincers. And I still don't feel great. I have kind of an allergy contusion headache. Feels like I've been hit with a blunt force object in my sinus cavity. My sinus. I've got bursitis in my colon of my face. Sorry. I'm sorry. Jerry Lewis is problematic. I watched a Vanity Fair expose report. I apologize to everybody for putting all this problematic triggering. I'm sure tons of people have been triggered by my Jerry Lewis and my 9/11 content. I apologize to everyone who was severely PTSD, shell-shocked because of my extreme 9/11 ad blitz. I've really been exploiting the tragedy. Never forget, god damn it. I'm sorry, I'm ripped already. I am super ripped. So you join me in medium high. So get ready for a fun time. We'll see if I might just be all over the place. What was I just talking about, Jerry Lewis? He's problematic, okay? My mom is the one who, she bought me a biography of Jerry Lewis in high school. And she's always kind of, tried to encourage me. She's tried to, coerce me and sort of, nudge me towards liking Jerry Lewis for something. And it's mother's intuition, okay? You got to believe that your mom has some kind of insight into your personality. I mean, a few years ago, I was playing the piano. She has a piano in her dining room. And I was, kind of, on it, climbing on it, in an insane way, like how I kind of do. And my mom was like, I haven't seen this since he was a kid. So, you know, they know things that you don't know before you were conscious, who you really are, the seed. I mean, it's kind of crazy how your mom is like psychic or whatever. Your mom can kind of like. So I don't know. I trust my mom bought me this biography of Jerry Lewis. He affected like he wanted to be kind of a Charlie Chaplin figure. You know, he was a filmmaker. And look, Scorsese has got mad respect. I mean, the King of Comedy, right? That's sort of the seed of the whole Joker culture, right? King of Comedy, the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix that he won an Academy Award for Christ's sake, is basically kind of a sequel. I haven't seen it. Like most things I comment on my live stream, I have not seen it or heard it. It's all hearsay. It's all just my opinion. It's all hot air. There's no substance. There's no foundation in anything I say. Um, and so the Joker movie, I've got 3 likes, everybody. Oh, bam. All right, now I'm definitely going to sign off. Thank you for watching. Is this some kind of ad campaign? Is this some kind of conspiracy? Did you all text each other to say, hey, we need to support this guy's live stream. He needs our help. Donate, send money, you know. I'm definitely suspicious about the telethon. Like, was Jerry Lewis really just that psyched to help people? I'm sure he was making a piece of that. I'm sure he got a taste in some way. There's a great Harry Shearer. I'm sorry to upload upfront the show with Jerry Lewis content. I know nothing could be older. Everything I like is old. So I made the summer reading list, okay? Check out the summer reading list. It's on my YouTube playlist. I've got a lot of public YouTube playlists. The System Lord playlists. These are the things that I collage. These are the video collages. I'm basically a YouTube DJ. That's a big part of my my artistic bio, my artistic identity. I'm on you. I live on YouTube. I'm basically a middle-aged or basically an old person. If I was cool, oh my God, there's 4 people watching. What is going on? YouTube is like the algorithm loves me all of a sudden. What's going on? I don't know. I can't handle this attention. My YouTube. I'm a YouTube DJ. Okay. I'm sure you know that I'm very famous for my YouTube playlist. Check out. Oh, it's because it's raining. It's Sunday night. It's raining, so everybody's trapped. And this is perfect. This is my live radio show. Joe Franklin, broadcasting live, Midwood, New York. We are here under the stars. It is beautiful. We're memory laning. And so thank you for watching. Stay with us. We have a lot of important things to talk about, including, you know, the gigs, the recent gigs, the gig life, the open mic life, the 9 at 9. So my YouTube playlist, my summer reading list, are you checking it out? Are you deep diving on the summer? YouTube has tons of free movies and a lot. Okay, check out Next Stop Greenwich Village. It's available for YouTube. It's one of Tarantino's. Tarantino's favorite of the Easy Riders Raging Bull generation is Paul Mazursky, who I don't know is even known anymore. He directed Down and Out in Beverly Hills and Moon Over Parador, which is a movie that I was exposed to as a child for some reason, starring Richard Dreyfuss in kind of dual roles as a dictator of a fake South American. Raul Julia's in it, the great Raul Julia. I think Bette Midler. But Down and Out in Beverly Hills, his dog's name is Kerouac, right? It's one of the great yuppie comedies of the 80s. Paul Mazursky, check out Next Stop Greenwich Village. It's on my YouTube required reading, okay? Students of Remedial High School, Easy Paradise. See, this is how I do everything. I do everything beyond the last minute. The summer's over, obviously, so you got to cram this summer playlist. I think it's 191 videos. It is required viewing. It's just like driver's ed, okay? This is going to teach you how to be a New York artist, my playlist. I was watching this video today, Face of the Poet by George Quasha. It's one of the most incredible films I've ever seen. It's like a YouTube video. He just filmed all these poets, these gorgeous close-ups of all these poets, and they're basically just talking about what they think poetry is. It is amazing. It's edited so fluidly. So it's sort of like a visual essay, but it's a collage. Will Alexander's in it. Anselm Berrigan is in it. I think Sparrow's in it. Among many, 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 many others. And it's just an amazing, you know, YouTube. Okay, so part of my thesis here is that YouTube is like the new reading. YouTube is the new literature. I mean, I'm hooked. I don't know about you guys. I'm a middle-aged, you know, reactionary libtard from the 90s. I'm a Clinton era libtard, so I'm masked up. You know, Biden is my spiritual. I'm okay. Well, anyway, so I don't know if YouTube is like something for middle-aged people. To me, it's like this amazing technology and this amazing resource. The fact that I can get on and watch Next Stop Greenwich Village or Willie and Phil. Check out Willie and Phil with Margot Kidder. It's a remake of Jules et Jim that takes place in the West Village in like the 80s. So you've got Next Stop Greenwich Village, which is like a nostalgia piece about the 50s and 60s and the kind of glory day, golden era of Cafe Reggio and all this. Cafe Reggio is featured prominently in this movie. It's all shot on McDougal Street. And it's just a beautiful, it's got this, that Dave Brubeck Blue Rondo a la Turk song in it, features prominently. And these are like Tarantino's favorite fucking, yeah, this is Tarantino's favorite movie, favorite director from the 70s. So, these are available for free on YouTube, the Library of Alexandria of our modern era. And so, you know, I don't know about you, but on this rainy day Sunday, I was in bed all day with YouTube. It's Book TV, okay? When I was in high school, my dad, every Sunday on C-SPAN, Brian Lamb, I think was the guy's name, the owner, proprietor / host of all the C-SPAN shit, he had, all day Sunday was Book TV. And he would interview, like they had Harold Bloom. This is how I was first exposed to like Harold Bloom and kind of like elitist, I don't know, Barnes & Noble pop culture kind of English lit. You know, he was a part of that kind of mass media, legacy media machine that created celebrities of everything. So Harold Bloom was kind of this celebrity literary critic. And he'd be on Book TV talking about Shakespeare and Hamlet and Cervantes and Cormac McCarthy and Don DeLillo and white males, right? He was sort of not woke in the culture wars of, I mean, he got canceled. He was sexually harassing all his students. You know, he would put his hand on their leg and, but supposedly he could read 1,000 pages like an hour or something. And supposedly he had memorization. He memorized anything he read. It was a lot of dubious claims, to be honest. If you've ever actually read Harold Bloom, it's kind of a lot of bullshit. It's a lot of just like name dropping and kind of just like, it's kind of this circular reference system of name dropping. It's just like, well, Shakespeare was ripping off, Marlowe, who, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, that's true, but let's hear you actually talk about the fucking text, man. Like, Milton was a rewrite of Iago, which was, a devil, kind of Satan. And it's like, okay, there wasn't a whole lot of, like, close reading, let's say. I don't know. I'm talking out of my ass. But anyway, Sunday is Book TV day. It's the holy day. I mean, literature is our church, right? Poetry is our church. Show business is our church. I mean, we try to squeeze in. That's what church is. It's show business. It's music. It's poetry. It's outfits. It's smoke. They got a fog machine, you know. They light that fucking sensor thing. They throw the water, you know. They give you a little wine. They get you dosed up on Body of Christ. They give you a little psychedelic tab of Jesus. And it's like a big fucking festival, man. It's just like a big fucking rock. I mean, the acoustics in those churches, right, are just like sick as hell. They're metal as hell. Church is metal. And those organs, I mean, Jesus Christ. My Aunt Susie could play a fucking pipe organ. You're using all of your limbs. And all of your prestidigitation. I mean, all of your fucking fingers and toes, practically. All of your digits. So my YouTube playlist is designed to, you know, I don't know, maybe the medium is the message. And the fact that you're using YouTube and you're on your phone is kind of overriding any kind of literary value. You know, maybe the act of reading is what's important. Maybe that kind of like stretching and workout, like kind of working out your mental muscle or whatever is the important thing. But I don't know. I think just being in poetry climate was kind of interesting for me today to just kind of listen to all these poets talk about. And I mean, the way that poets talk, that's part of what I'm trying to tap into with a lot of my work and a lot of recording and recording real life, being around poets is like the way that poets talk is so intricate, and it's already kind of a work in and of itself. So, the amount of attention and care and specificity and the places they go, the inventiveness, the exploratory, the magic, right? That's something a lot of the poets in this, I don't know if you'd call it a documentary, this video, this film, say is like poetry's magic, right? I think we're trying to get in touch with magic, show business at its greatest, the things that touch us the most deeply feel religious, right? Or moving, they feel spiritual and magical, maybe. Witches, right? That was a recurring thing. Maybe it's not as much of a popular role for people to want to play, but the witch thing, right? Stevie Nicks, everybody wanted to be kind of a Stevie Nicks witch, casting spells. And your books, the word order is like this enchantment, this kind of code that unlocks, or I don't know, that's what we're trying to get into, that's what we're practicing. But it's also just our practice. Maybe it can't be, maybe just by doing it all the time it kind of wears out the what did we do, 4 shows this week or something? I've got 4 shows coming up. It's like, I've got allergies, so my head is just completely, feel like I'm being pincered. I feel like I'm in the forceps right now. And I'm being delivered like a baby every second into the future. And so tapping in, comedians work in the space where they talk for a living. When you get up there as a stand-up comedian, that's what's so weird about it. For me as a performer, I'm so used to having an instrument. Having a big piece of wood and metal on stage is not a bad idea. You feel like you can defend yourself. You feel like you've got a gun, or not a gun, but you feel like you've got a big sword or some kind of artillery. I mean, I think all of the music, the British invasion was like a crusades. It really was a knighthood. Those guys all got knighted. It was kind of an inverse of violence. They inverted the violence. The 60s was just like a big party they threw with the proceeds from World War II. They got all this wealth from World War II, and it sort of inverted the violence. The 60s was a reaction against that. And so rather than have guns, well, there was Vietnam, obviously, the rock and roll war that was happening. But they had guitars and shit. As a comedian, you get up there, you have nothing. You have nothing to hide behind. That's what's so scary about it. That's why I think it is kind of the hardest thing, and why I have sympathy for comedians. Because you really are just making something out of nothing. You don't have cards, you don't have poetry, you even have your piece of paper. I mean, that's one reason why I started doing poetry, because it's like, you'll never forget your lines. You've got your script right there. You've got it. You've got the safety blanket. All you have to do is read to people. But it's nice. Reading to each other is really a nice thing to do. And that's part of the YouTube summer playlist. It's like I'm trying to curate, right? Everybody's favorite word. I'm trying to curate a selection of YouTube videos. I mean, I'm interested to see what other people watch. I mean, maybe my stuff is a bunch of old guy, 20th century and before. But, I did want to curate an education. Jack Michelin is on there. The Situationists are on there. Sandra Bernhard, incredible comedy special. Probably one of the best comedy specials I've ever seen. Sandra Bernhard at Slim's in San Francisco. I'm Still Here, damn it. She's pregnant. She's pregnant during her comedy special. It's insane. I was watching some Janine Garofalo comedy the other day. It's in the syllabus. It was incredible. It's from the 90s. She was talking about patriotism in the wrong hands is a dangerous thing. And she was talking about the Taliban. This was in 1997. There's a reason why Janine Garofalo's career kind of was not offered the same opportunities after 9/11, right? She was outspoken about 9/11. And about the politics of all of that stuff. And so they buried her. Remember, she was on that Air America radio? I was blown away by her comedy special. She was amazing, and it's very smart. I don't know if comedy is really that smart anymore. I think people are looking for some kind of vague philosophical, like Louis, I saw this video popped up. What is it? Everything is incredible and nobody's happy or something. It was like a famous video. It went super viral in like 2010. Everything's amazing and no one is happy. People are looking for that kind of thing, like some kind of centrist, secular, pseudo-philosophical, common sense Joe the Plumber wisdom or something. Like Joe Rogan being kind of Joe the Plumber. And, not that Joe Rogan is the worst thing. At least he's questing. There is no Joe Rogan on the YouTube syllabus. I do want to say that. That is a disclaimer. There's no Joe Rogan. That is a promise I make to you. I have not stooped to that. This is real. YouTube is putting such bad stuff. It's always, here's some Jordan Peterson videos, or like best case scenario, like Zizek. Here's Zizek. It's like, there's a lot of, Brooklyn Rail. Speaking of, YouTube presences and like amazing content and content libraries, the Brooklyn Rail basically has an entire like Netflix of like archival readings that they've done. This new social environment that they've done since the pandemic is really an incredible library of readings and talks all about contemporary art and poetry. So I definitely recommend that to people. I mean, we are now featured. Our reading will be debuting on YouTube, I think, on Tuesday. So for those who missed it, in case you missed it, ICYMI on Wednesday. I mean, it was really a festival of... Ashley did an amazing, magnificent A-plus job of curating. I mean, you couldn't get a more illustrious lineup of magicians, world-class. But it was also very smart who she picked, and there was a correlation, I would say. It was almost like a constellation or a string of pearls, the readers, or a prayer flag. And so it was really a nice afternoon. I really was honored, and I thank Ashley for asking me to be a part of it. So it'll be in the fucking Brooklyn Rail YouTube channel, but it's not on the summer reading list. Check out the summer reading list. Joe Franklin's on there, Gene Shepard. It's a lot of things. I don't know if people are, so I chickened out yesterday on my hour. I was going to do an hour, but honestly, I was just feeling so gnarly. My head just hurt so bad. I probably could have done it, but like, I fucked up the scheduling of the opening of that event was probably the worst thing I've done on stage ever in my career. I mean, it was, I did not, it was, I can't upload the video. It was publicly, it was not my best work. And so, I like, the thing with events, the thing that's so tricky with me and versus the kind of culture that we're in is I really like doing things by feel, and I kind of feel my way in the dark, and I do it like I do everything at the last minute. So I don't have, oh my God, there's 5 people watching. I've never had 5 people ever. I think I've had 6 people watching my thing at one time. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Like and subscribe if you're just joining us. Wow, this could be the beginning of something big. Maybe someday I'll even have 10 people watching me. See, if there were 4 people in the bar, it'd be pathetic. It'd just be like, there's nobody here. Not that I don't appreciate it. Thank you guys for staying and listening. But like last night, there were definitely more than 4 people in the bar. But I was just like, I just chickened out. I didn't know what to talk about. I booked the gig kind of at the last minute. And so I didn't prepare anything like I always do. I never prepare anything. I didn't prepare anything for this. I mean, I did prepare for the Brooklyn Rail reading a little bit. I went through my notebook. Maybe I'll read some shit from my notebook. Oh my God, 6 people are watching. Jesus Christ. My head is really throbbing now. Are other people having allergy problems? I disabled the chat because I get harassed by stalkers in the chat and generally just kind of weird people. There's always weird... No, I'm just kidding. But I disabled the chat. Are other people having allergy problems? Apparently, I Googled it, and the worst times of year for allergies, I think, are May, June, and September, which I did not know. It's ragweed season. And so I think being uptown or something by Central Park, I haven't been near trees. I've been mostly downtown, since Ashley went to California. And so I haven't really even been. There's no trees really in Midwood. There's no park here. It's like a desert. It really is like the Middle East. It's landlocked as hell. It's in the middle of Brooklyn, and there's no trees. It's very yellowy and beige. It feels like the Middle East here. And it's arid. It feels arid. And so I think I just have not really been around any kind of spore or pollen or, life-giving semen of nature. And so I think going up near Central Park maybe was just like, bam. I don't know. I have no idea what it was. Something just totally blasted out my allergies. And so this whole part of my face has felt just like hammered shit, as my dad would say. That was one of his favorite expressions. I feel like hammered shit. Chuck, you, Farley, and the whole family, do your parents say that? I'm going all the way today, okay? I'm really all over the place. I've got 4 people watching, so this is scattered. This is free jazz. This is real free jazz today. Free associative. So I'm riffing on the playlist, and I'm just talking about how I really choked last night. I mean, I was just not feeling great, and I'm sure people got that vibe. I was kind of biting people's heads off. And so I should have, the show must go on. I should have plowed ahead. That's the important lesson for comedians, is it's like when the audience doesn't give you energy, it's just like you gotta plow. You gotta find that in you. You gotta throw that at them, and then it comes back to you. I mean, or just not even worry about it. I mean, part of what I'm trying to achieve with these talk pieces, a la David Anton, is they don't necessarily have to be funny. They just have to be interesting and edifying, and I'm trying to just throw in all the content that I've been thinking about over the last 2 weeks. I'm sorry if it's super scattershot and kind of all over the place, but this is something that feels like a risk to do live, because it feels like I've been wanting to do this for a decade. I've really been chickening out. I've been recording talk pieces where I talk for hours, for a decade. It's just I don't do this live because there isn't really a venue or a medium for this. So, with the venue we played at last night, I won't necessarily name names, we have kind of I like doing gigs there a lot because they're very hands-off and they have great equipment. They have a great board, great microphones, they have a piano. I figured out the projector last night. After doing 4 gigs there, I finally figured out the projector. They have a Roku built into their projector in-house. I thought I was going to have to bring a laptop and figure out an HDMI to a ViewSonic port or whatever it is. But they have it all. They literally have all the shit there. We could have been screening our vlogs at every one of these gigs. It was a lost opportunity. So we've had this kind of amazing residency there this summer. We've done 4 shows there. We've been really lucky. And to be honest, people are not really coming to these shows very much, but they are great shows. I'm having a great time doing them. There's always a handful of people. Last night, nobody showed up, literally. It was not a lot of people, but it was a great show. I got to say, even though I flubbed it and really fucked up the beginning and really did not start it well and kind of was putting out I'm Bill Graham, what I realized. I've become Bill Graham. I thought I was going to be the act. I thought I was going to be the headliner, but it's like I'm the promoter. Suddenly I'm Bill Graham. I'm just like booking these bills and working with venues and putting on concerts, more or less. And I'm very proud, actually. I think this run of shows that Easy Paradise has put on this summer has actually been really amazing. We've featured, I don't even know, probably 20 or 30 artists of all different kinds of shit. Poets, amazing music. Bob Royer, Sing Ya has been kind of in residence. We've been really lucky to have Sing Ya. She's kind of the anchor of the whole thing. Ashley, of course. The Weezer Cruise is a big part of the DNA. I know people are loving the Weezer Cruise. People cannot get enough of our Weezer content. That's why we're doing a Weezer play on Tuesday, just by popular demand. Everybody was like, more Weezer. Please talk about Weezer more. Please mention, I mentioned Weezer 8 times in my Brooklyn Rail reading, apparently. We had a person on the Weezer Discord at the reading. Somebody from the Weezer Discord actually posted about it on the Rivers Cuomo Discord. Somebody from the Discord watched the Brooklyn Rail reading. See, now that's fanship, okay? That's fandom, okay? I want Easy Paradise fans to be that hardcore. Kick in the door, mod hardcore, walking out like it's 94. So we're bringing you the Weezer content. We are working day and night to bring you more Weezer content, okay? The Weezer play, Tuesday. This is a part of the Easy... now we're branching out into drama. We've done vlogs. We've done comedy. It's a festival of the arts. This is the Easy Paradise. We're like the public theater. I do feel like Joe Papp, in a way. I kind of feel like Joe Papp. As a high schooler, whatever, you read about this New York shit, the Actors Studio, or fucking Raul Julia and Othello, or Lee Strasberg, right? Watching Strasberg. I feel like Joe Papp. This is the this is the New York Shakespeare Festival. We are doing outdoor Shakespeare. We did the rooftop show, Amelia Blair Smith. Come on, Claire Donaher. We're delivering A+. We're doing, these are the hottest shows because they still have a DIY spirit, These are still open source. They're not some kind of institutionalized, monetized. I mean, we do them for free. We're hitting all over the place. We're in Long Island City. We're invading, Queens. We're invading, we've been in Park Slope. Nobody lives out there, but I mean, it's just, we're doing it for God. Like I said yesterday, that was basically what my act was about yesterday. We do it for the angels and just, to bear witness, and it existed. No one can deny that it happened, And so we've just had an amazing, the fucking Jefferson Market Library reading, right? Doing Ann Van Epps show, That's why people should book me on their shows. I'm going to harp on this again because it's like, then you're connected. You're connected to this whole strain of this whole festival of the arts and this whole, mighty kind of, I don't know, it's just fun. It's fun to do. Where else do we do shows? We did Auto Shrunken Head, so we did do a show in the East Village as part of the Weezer cruise. We hit 14th Street. We've done the West Village. We need to get uptown. That's the next move. We need to do a show. I don't think we've done one in Midtown. Maybe we need to do like a Times Square. That could be like a good, now that it's fall, I mean, everybody was doing these outdoor shows. I kind of missed the boat on that. But, I don't know. It's been kind of nice to do it. The vacuum or the kind of relaxation of summer allowed a place, now that I had time in space, to kind of book these other things, And so, like last summer, I typed up manuscripts. The summer before, I did kind of a similar thing. Summer, you always, at least when you work in kind of, I don't know, poetry world or whatever like me, everything's academic, so it kind of, there's less work. And so I always have time in the summer. So it's like, I feel like this is kind of what I did with the summer. We did the Weezer cruise. We did all these shows, And I tried to document them the best I could. My camera... Like, I filmed the show last night, but the audio really does not sound good. I'm still experimenting, trying to get direct out of the board. And so, it's kind of hit or miss. And so, none of the Young Ethel shows did I film. None of the, you had to be there. So, I think that's kind of important, too. I try to put everything online to the best of my ability. But also, I do think that there's something kind of important and exquisite and effervescent and kind of poetic, if you will. I mean, this is a poetry magazine, first and foremost, after all, about doing a show that's just kind of gone. You do it, that's like outdoor Shakespeare, right? You do it, and it kind of just goes into thin air, right? Like The Tempest. I'm going to have a cookie. Anybody out there, if you're snacking at home, here's the time, take a shot, do a shot or whatever, hit the bowl. I got these s'mores cookies. They're honestly not, they're kind of mid. They're not as lit as my typical gluten-free cookies. But here's my diet idea. It's taking, normally I just completely house and mow down on my cookies and they're gone in like a day. They never last more than a few hours. These are not as good, so they've lasted like 3 days. So I'm like, maybe that's a diet. Maybe that's a good diet. Just get stuff that doesn't taste as good, that you don't like as much, and you won't eat it. You'll take longer to eat it. That's the Easy Paradise diet. The Easy Paradise diet is gluten-free, dairy-free. Eat whatever you want. As long as you're gluten-free and dairy-free, and you kind of stay away from alcohol. That's how I'm 38 years old and I look like I'm 33. So shout out to all the comedians, all the performers. You know, we put on some giving people 10 minutes, giving people a little more time. That's one of the things that's kind of cool about booking. Thank you for liking it. Oh my God, I got 7 likes. This is insane. I don't even know what to do. Are people checking? Please check out the summer reading list. There's a lot of, YouTube can be an incredible value. It's all about providing value. We want to provide value for you. We want you to take ideas. We want you to be inspired. That's why I talk about my process and all this stuff. Hopefully people steal all my ideas, give me no credit, give me no money, and I die in obscurity. My teeth are rotting inside my mouth. I'm going to be killed by pollen and just bad dentistry. So yeah, I was going to do an hour yesterday, but I just chickened out. But it was still a rockin' show. I mean, Kuzu Daddy. Come on. What can you say? But the next event we got to do is we are going to do a film screening at Young Ethel's. Now that I figured out the projector. See, I didn't really figure it out to the end of the night, but the people who there, I hope they enjoy the projections. I curate, if you check out my YouTube playlist, Stream Bulges. Stream Bulges is my projections, which is what I typically try to portray in the background of these videos, but we have a more static. I just was too lazy to set it up today, as are most things. If I really wanted a podcast, I probably would have like a set with chairs and things, but this is the most viewers I've ever had, so this is a huge breakthrough for me, so thank you for watching. It's flow state. It's all about flow state. It's living demonstration of flow state. That's part of what I'd like to get into on stage. I finally figured out how to work the projector. So Young Ethel's, could be our film. I'd love to do like spectacle theater and the more serious kind of theaters, anthology film archives. But I also like the idea that we could just set up. I mean, Young Ethel's is very cool about the way that they work with you. I encourage people to book things there, put on shows. People should put on their own shows. Curate your own. Do it yourself, Make your own Easy Paradise. Wow, now school is back in session, so there's like tons more people in the city all of a sudden. So I'm interested to see. Tomorrow is 9/11, so I don't know. I kind of backed off a little bit on the night. I thought people were really ready to laugh. I way overestimated that people were ready to laugh about 9/11. And I get it. I totally understand. I mean, it's New York. It's very personal. A lot of people lived through it, for Christ's sakes, and it was, who knows? Who knows? It could go very, very deep. So I don't want to disrespect anybody or make anybody, we do live in like a sensitive era, right? This is one of the things that's tricky about doing live performance. And in a certain way, I mean, I think people are so used to viewing things on screens at home, in sort of the domain of their own kind of like authority. And so going out to a show and all of a sudden being affected by something that you're not specifically choosing, our entertainment is so customized to us now. We can choose, so we can nitpick. We can be like, oh, I don't like that. That's triggering, or that's, I want something that's tailored exactly to me, exactly to my identity. The algorithm gives, with incredible specificity, but it's also like everybody's, what they want to see is, and who they want to admire is so bound up in people that look like them, which I get is important, right? It's representation, but it's also like, well, you can admire people, or you can, I don't know. It's just like I feel like maybe that's a narcissistic thing. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but it feels like a lot of people are served up content, or they relate to things that are like, this person shares my exact identity. This person shares my, and I don't want to hear anything else. I disagree with that person's values, so I don't even want to hear what they have to say, or, it's like, it's triggering to me, or, on that's the same goes for right-wing people. They get super triggered when you criticize them for being anti-vaxxers. They're the snowflakes. They're just as fucking trying to cordon themselves off into their own little echo chamber or whatever, right? So with these public events, I mean, especially with an open mic, you are getting this kind of town hall, and I don't know, there is like this weird, some people just don't, they just don't think they have to sit for that. They don't want to sit for that. They're going to go to some safe space that is like something that's just totally agreeable to them. And people are really afraid, I think, to be triggered or to hear something that like makes them uncomfortable, like a 9/11 joke or a Holocaust joke, or, fill in the blank, And I do think that it's like, it is kind of crazy how comedians think it's their job to just like go to those spaces. Here's the things you're not supposed to talk about. Here's the things that people are sensitive about. Just press that button. Just irritate that. That's where the funny. And I just don't know that is a great instinct. Although, okay, for me, 9/11 was, I was in Columbus, Ohio, even though it was this thing that it felt like affected all of us, right? That was part of it. Part of the indoctrination campaign was, oh my God, this is the first attack that has ever happened on our own goddamn soil, which is not true. The fucking Civil War happened in the United States. There were definitely military actions, that had occurred against this fucking country on our own soil. But they wanted to make it seem like it was a threat to everybody everywhere, right? 9/11 is going to, I'm going to talk about 9/11 so people stop watching. See, once I start telling the truth about 9/11, people don't want to hear it, right? They just sign off, okay? They're too sensitive, the snowflakes. They can't handle the truth of our Illuminati, Weezer. Weezer, yeah, so that was part of the campaign, was to get it so everybody was afraid everywhere. We got to take our shoes off at the airport, not that it, we all watched it on our TV. We weren't in New York City, right? We didn't watch it in the fucking sky as it happened. We didn't see, we didn't breathe the dust, right? And there were a lot of people that were affected by that stuff. I went on a couple dates with this girl a few years ago whose dad died. He was a fireman, and he died because he breathed the dust on 9/11, right? And so people are sensitive about it, right? You can't, and I'm not a New Yorker. What right do I have to come in here and be like, ha ha ha, 9/11? It's not that, especially, I don't know, it could be a bad look. I thought people were ready to laugh. I was way wrong. It's been 22 years. It's still too soon, I guess. The snowflakes. No. I don't want to be insensitive, so I backed off. I mean, it is 9/11, though. Tomorrow is 9/11. And so I will be, there's definitely some funny shit. Not 9/11 itself, obviously horrific, even though, I mean, come on, it was so orchestrated. Look, the towers look like an 11. The date is 9/11. Come on. They knew exactly what the fuck they were doing. It was a coordinated thing, House of Bush, House of Sod. We're going to go into it tomorrow, okay? I'm going to blow the lid on 9/11, okay? Tomorrow, they cannot stop us. We've got the microphone. We're going to tell the truth. We're going to expose the fucking lies, the Illuminati lies. It's like Harvey Pekar, right? He was on Letterman. He got banned from Letterman for talking about how NBC, I don't know, whatever, sold weapons, or General Electric, right? It was bad manners for him to talk shit about General Electric. And so I'm not making fun of 9/11. Okay, but here's the thing. It is this thing that, like, we all have PTSD about. I'm sure that was part of the point. It was a collective mass hypnosis. It was a shock doctrine thing, right? Read that book, Naomi Klein, right? These people have a plan in place that they want to execute, and they use these disasters to roll out their plans. They did it in Hurricane Katrina because the population is so stupefied, they will go for anything. I mean, I was ready to join the fucking army after 9/11. I remember having a conversation with one of my friends talking about, maybe we have a duty to fight for this fucking country. Maybe we should go to Afghanistan, like Pat Tillman. Maybe that, because I was right at that age. I was 16 when 9/11 happened, right? The wars began right as I was kind of coming into adulthood. But unlike the war in Vietnam, there was no prescription, there was no draft. And so those wars were like these weird kind of offshore private wealth building for weapons companies. They created a conflict, the war on terrorism, through this. They gentrified New York. They knocked those buildings down. It was a controlled demolition. They absolutely wrecking balled those things because they wanted to turn over the whole fucking city. They wanted to get rid of that shit. They were mostly empty, I think. And so they saw all these fucking opportunities. Connect the dots, sheeple. See, I'm losing viewers by the minute because I'm talking about 9/11. Connect the dots, sheeple. Yeah, we're not going to stop that. See, this is what happened to Jeannie Garofalo. Same thing, right? Bill Maher. No, fuck Bill Maher. But Jeannie Garofalo definitely deserved better. So anyway, one of the funniest things I ever saw was, probably 2005, 6, 7, was a meme. I mean, of course, we're all familiar with Falling Man, right? The Falling Man picture. I mean, that's one of the most gruesome horror stories of the whole thing. It was a horrific thing. That was part of it. It's seared into all of our consciousness. Quite literally. It's seared into all of our consciousness. See, this is what I should have did last night. I should have just talked about 9/11 on 9/9. That was part of it. And so these kind of horror stories, about people jumping out the windows and this and that, are part of the gory details, that make it. But there's also this weird distance where the whole thing is mediated, and we're not in New York City. We're 500 miles away in Columbus, Ohio, and my fucking neighbor down the block in his pickup truck had a mural painted of, like, the American flag and, like, the fucking Twin Towers and shit. It's like, dude, have you ever been to New York City? Like, you probably hate it. You probably hated the old New York, right? Like, that was a big, if you go in YouTube comments, a video, Giuliani cleaned up New York, right? He fixed it. And it's divided over how people feel. If you look at comments on YouTube or Facebook and, like, old New York forums, it's like a lot of people say, oh, I wish I could go back. New York 70s, 80s, 90s was the best. Now it sucks. It changed, Right-wing people think the opposite. They think, oh, man, Giuliani went in and fucking cleaned it up, and, man, it's way better. He improved it. Look at that. I plummeted my viewership by talking about 9/11. Incredible. That's okay. I'm going to get a drink of water real fast. I'll be right. It's right here. I'm going to be right back. Don't go anywhere. Check out the syllabus. Hold on. We're going to talk more about 9/11. There was all this, like, like tender propaganda that came out after it about, just sentimentality about this country. One of the things I'm going to do, I guess I'll just talk about it now. McCartney came out with propaganda. The Freedom song. Freedom, talking about free. John Lennon would be fucking puking if he knew McCartney came out with like this kind of pro-war anthem. Supposedly McCartney was on a tarmac at JFK when 9/11 happened, and he saw it, he watched it from a plane on the tarmac waiting to take off. So I'm sure, obviously those guys have a long history with New York, so it's very personal. Would John Lennon have come out with a war cry? I think McCartney invented swag rock. If you listen to that song, the percussion is like this. It's sort of, I guess maybe We Will Rock You invented that, but it sounds like the 300, or it sounds like that Johnny Cash song, God Will Bring You Down, or whatever the fuck that is, that became like swag rock, that whoa, whoa. It sounds like just like armies of boots hitting the ground, and just like big, beefy, toxic masculine war machine. Moving forward. Thank you to my one viewer. Is that Ashley? That's got to be Ashley. I lost everybody in the last 15 minutes talking about 9/11. Were those just rando YouTube people? I probably should be on Twitch. I think I'm too young to be on YouTube. I think that the audience on YouTube, I do think, is like either like children or like right-wing 50-year-olds. Oh, and there goes my final viewer. Oh my God. See, I lost everybody. Oh well. See, now I can really get real about 9/11. Okay, now the pressure's off. Now, see, I've already got 7 likes. I mean, Jesus Christ, I've never gotten 7 likes. It's just like this stuff is in the air. Jimmy Buffett is a part of it. If you live in the middle part of this country and flyover country, you're gonna hear, like, you're going to witness, like, the Toby Keith mentality of, like, we'll put a boot in your ass, it's the American way. And that was people's reaction. That was the point of 9/11, right? It was a false flag operation, like Pearl Harbor, to just get people pissed off so they could roll. They wanted to go into Iraq, 9/11, as we know, somebody unliked my video. I had 7 likes, now I've only got 6. Because I started talking about 9/11. See what we do for likes? This is so pathetic that we pay this much attention to this shit. They really got us Pavlovian, right? The likes are Pavlovian. Yeah, and so 9/11, 9/11, 9/11, 9/11. Somehow I just started. I mean, what else are we going to talk about? Yeah, the Toby Keith, Jimmy Buffett industrial complex, right? All these country music, they have, if you listen to this, it's 5 o'clock somewhere song, they figured out, because Jimmy Buffett is from the South, he's a Confederate, I suppose, of sorts, maybe, deep down. Although maybe that's not a fair, I guess he was a Democrat, that's what I heard. I think he was buds with Al Gore and shit, and Bono. But, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. When they figured this song out, they figured country in the South does have this element that's like the beach in the Caribbean. And that is sort of the way that the work farm of the United States, like, it's 5 o'clock somewhere is about, I think he says he hasn't had a day off in over a year. That's one of the lyrics of the song. I haven't had a day off in over a year, okay? They are trying to prime people to be wage slaves and to be completely subservient. They glamorize, I don't miss a day work. I never miss when I'm sick or anything. This is not workers' rights. This is the opposite, right? This is glamorizing overtime, working hard, getting sick at work, working 7 days a week, working 130 hours a week, whatever it is. This is what you're supposed to think you're supposed to do in America. You get 2 weeks vacation, and so what do? You go to Margaritaville. You go to Key West or you go to Myrtle Beach, right? You go to the fucking saltwater taffy place in Myrtle Beach, whatever the fuck that place is, Salty Dog Cafe or whatever. You go to Panama City Beach, that's where we went. We went to the Redneck Riviera, home of Hank Williams Jr. and MTV Spring Break. That was our Margaritaville, our 2 week, And so country music, that became like a part of its DNA, this sort of like toes in the sand, right? That is your vacation from the work farm. That you got your pickup truck, you're a contractor, whatever. I heard the other day it costs $53,000 to roll out the internet to some of these fucking houses in rural America. They're, $53,000 per house to give them the internet. Fuck that. Fuck the internet. They want to be off the grid. Maybe some places should not have the internet. That's way too much money to spend on the internet for one fucking hillbilly to be able to watch backyard wrestling videos on YouTube. Unless they're live streaming my shit. I just lost a viewer. See, there was some hillbilly in West Virginia that just got broadband from the government, like the Tennessee Valley Authority. It's too much. It's just that, you want to talk about taxpayer expense. $53,000 per hillbilly? Let them just fucking have their moonshine and let them be in nature. Somebody's got to do it. Let them play their banjo and squeal like a pig and do all whatever the weird shit is they do out there. Shoot their guns. Let them go in their ATVs. They don't need the internet. They hate fucking Blue State. They hate us. Fuck, they don't get the internet. You want the internet, you got to move to the inner city. You got to move to San Francisco. You got to move to one of these, or Portland. One of the libtard metropolises. God bless them. Where I feel at home. 15 minutes outside of any city is Dixie. That's what Taylor Made said. So 9/11 brought that out in strange ways. In New York, right, they did the Republican convention here in before 2004 election. Like, it was a concerted effort. If you look at Manhattan, Fox News, Murdoch, a lot of people downtown. There's putting greens on Avenue A. There's people carrying golf clubs everywhere. They're selling golf balls in the bodegas on Avenue C. Okay? You couldn't go there without a gun 20, 30 years ago. Now there's ping hats. People are wearing ping hats. It's insane. The Republicans gentrified New York. And they took over and they made it less interesting. That's why there's all these finance people in comedy. Because they're the only ones who can afford to do it. And that's fine. There are brothers and sisters, but I'm really excited that all the comedians are writing poetry. I think they're writing good poetry, actually. And I think that's good for everybody. We're trying to get comedians to get more in touch with sensitivity and intellect and, profane illumination, getting high off reading. This is the best thing I read today, profane illumination. If you read poetry, you get high. That's why we read it, because it makes us high. The little slips in the language, language is a drug. It's a virus, and the psychedelic effects that poetry has on your imagination get you high. And that's why we do it. When we don't have drugs, and when we do have drugs, it's profane illumination is what they call it. I saw that in the YouTube syllabus. See, this and many more treasures are available on the YouTube summer reading playlist. Easy Paradise. It's required viewing for all the remedial punks in summer school, you punks. You just slacken during the year, so we got to whip you into shape, okay? So you need to get on that playlist and watch the Sandra Bernhard stand-up special. Watch the Jerry Lewis telethon videos. Watch the Greenwich Village story. This is the story of New York. These are the stories of Bohemia, okay? We need people to be exposed to Bohemia. Bohemia needs to stay alive, and it's not just for rich people. Cheap rent, okay? The rent has gone up astronomically over the last few years, and they are starving Bohemia. They are outlawing Bohemia. Where are we supposed to go? We're supposed to go to fucking Middletown? Are we supposed to go to West Virginia? Where is the cheap rent? All the crack ghettos are like in West Virginia and Ohio. Everyone's on heroin in Indiana, and everyone on New York is sober and working 130 hours a week and going to Blink Fitness and Soul Cycle. And they're binge watching Secession and White Lotus. And no one wants to hear the truth about 9/11. People tune out when I start to talk about 9/11. So we're trying to raise consciousness, and telling the truth about 9/11 is part of that, everyone. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. It's Sunday night here in New York City. You hear the gentle pitter-patter of the rain on my windowsill. It's beautiful here out in Midwood. The stars are all shining. And it's going to be a fantastic year, isn't it? We're rolling into the new year. We didn't even stop all summer. We coasted all the way through. I felt it was important to just keep the momentum going. And I want to do a year straight. So we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of Easy Paradise Open Mic at KGB Red Room, okay? September 19th last year was the first open mic. So we're going to do the 1-year anniversary, September 25th. Black tie only. You are not allowed in without strict formal wear, strict invitation only. These are the all-stars. This is VIP, okay? And very important, very important, very important people. It's more exclusive than, this is like Bohemian Grove, okay? This is the gathering of the aliens. There are going to be aliens there. We're going to be communicating with the aliens directly because, I'm sure people have understood by now that, we are aliens and we are profane illuminated because of our direct contact with extraterrestrial life who give us all of our messages to deliver to you. So we're just really channeling for the godhead of the crystal skull. And so the 1-year anniversary is coming up. And so I felt it was important to do 1 year straight. I have not missed a Monday. We were preempted one time in November last year by Ari Shaffir. Ari Shaffir did a show in the Red Room that they had pre-booked before we became a huge off Broadway success. We became a smash off Broadway. My Weezer plays premiering off Broadway, which is really the hottest part of off Broadways. It's really the hottest off Broadway that we have right now. So yeah, it's been a year. I wanted to do a year straight, and Ari Shaffir, I blame him for we would have done 52 in a row, but we haven't gotten there yet. We're sort of, I've gotten sick. I spoke too soon because a few weeks ago I did kind of brag about how I hadn't been sick hardly since the open mic started, and I've been sick kind of twice since I said that. So it goes to show you, superstitions are true, and you cannot disobey the gods. You cannot cross the gods, and I got cocky. And so I've been miserable ever since. I'm really just trying to get through this finish line, trying to do 1 year. And then it's Mike-tober. It's open Mike-tober. October is when things really start heating up. At least that's how it was last year. It took us about 3 weeks before things really picked up at the open mic last year. And so I'm hoping that because school's back in, I've got a good amount of people signed up for tomorrow, for the 9/11 extravaganza. I think some people were turned off. I think some people were like, I'm not going to go to this one because it's going to be too soon. Too many 9/11. They're going to make too much light of it, which I don't know. I'm not trying to be frivolous about it, but we're going to have an open conversation. I guess, I don't know. It is going to be what it is. It's going to be like it always is, except I'm going to do a couple 9/11. It's an interesting subgenre of music and entertainment, I guess, in general. The World Trade Center movie by Oliver Stone is one of the most horrifying nightmare movies I've ever seen. It really is. It's like a waking nightmare. It's like an anxiety dream. The guy's just trapped under the building for like days. And it's just nightmarish. And, all these 9/11 songs. I was trying to find, like Freedom by Paul McCartney. Toby Keith, courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue. It's an interesting subgenre. Smoke them if you got them, by the way. We'll put a boot in your ass. It's the American way. You hear that thunder? The quiet storm. It's the quiet storm here on Easy Paradise, Scenes from a Life. So yeah, we're going to do a screening of the vlogs. That'll probably be the next event at Young Ethel's. Maybe we'll do something that's like a reading with a vlog. What I really want to do, what I would have done last night if I would have figured out the projector earlier, was I want to project my vlogs behind me and then talk while the vlog is going. So I'll like sort of do a running commentary of the vlog as it's happening. So it'd be like this, except there will be a visual aid. And the idea, or I could read poetry of it, the idea being you're going to get the whole experience because I'm storytelling, right? I'm giving you the deets. But you're also seeing it, you know? So it's a film, but it's also taking place in your head. That's what I'm really trying to do is like with a lot of these YouTube things, the talks or the YouTube playlist is like, it's like podcasts. It's almost like, not like programmatic, but you know, it's like reading in that like another voice is taking residence in your head. So someone else is kind of thinking, you're listening to them think. That's kind of what reading is like. With reading, I don't know, you internalize things in such a physical way. You really feel your amygdala or whatever it is lighting up. And you really feel this kind of burrowing in. It's like there's this burrowing happening. You know, like there's some kind of mole or animal cuddling up in the center of your brain. That's what reading feels like to me. Whereas like talking, I don't know. It has a different kind of ebullience and effervescence and transcendence. You know, talking can kind of lift you. And storytelling is nice. I mean, that's part of what I'm trying to tap into here is honestly some of the most pleasant, incredible, profound artistic experiences, poetic, literary experiences I ever had was listening to my dad tell stories, right? Being in the car. I remember one time we were driving back from Florida, it was thundering like off in the distance. My dad was like just telling us stories as he was driving, you know? And, you know, that was what poetry was until the fucking printing press or whatever. There was no reading. There was no literacy, really. It was just talking, speech. And so I think that's still valid. And improvisation is actually more, you know, it's hard to memorize things. It was hard to record things in an exact sequence until the printing press or whatever, or other forms, I guess, cuneiform. Those weren't really ubiquitous or freely available in the same way. They weren't quite as like plug and play, but YouTube being sort of a public avenue for broadcasting, let's try and fill it with knowledge. You know, I do think that's one of the things is like the media landscape. I mean, everything changed after 9/11. That's why I do think it's important to talk about it. Because I think we have been living with these choices that were just kind of forced upon us. You know, all these superhero movies are so clearly a reaction to this fucking tragedy, you know, that sort of happened to all of us in a way. God, could you imagine if 9/11 happened, if Twitter was around? But the media landscape really changed. You know, the way that movies looked, the kind of movies that were made. Capital, investment firms, venture capital firms, private equity just kind of took over everything. Bush era, you know. Once they had those wars, you know, we weren't going to change presidents in the middle of a war. And so they just ram homed. I mean, Bush trashed this country. I lived through it, and I witnessed it. I hated it. I did everything I can to stop George W. Bush from getting reelected. And I don't think really people, even today, talk about how the dude just trashed this country. I mean, when he came into office, the Cold War had just ended in the early 90s, late 80s. Clinton era, there was, a budget surplus. There was a debt coming out of Reagan era. And by the time Clinton left office, there was a budget surplus because they balanced shit. And then when Bush came in, boom, 9/11 happened, what, 8 months after he took office? 9 months after he took office. He took office January 20th, 2001, right? It didn't take long at all. It wasn't even a year. We were in two wars, that cost trillions of dollars a month. I think this is, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings personally, right? But also, like, this event has been used as leverage to get us to do whatever they wanted, And a big part of Trump's brand was like, oh, these wars are so expensive. He didn't stop the fucking wars. And talking shit about America, and it's like Bush did all that. Bush started the fucking wars. Nobody questioned it. Colin Powell went to the UN and said they've got WMDs. And, lo and behold, we're spending, what was it, $3 trillion like a year? It was just ridiculous. It was $1 trillion every 3 months or something. Nobody questioned it. And it was this kind of weird Fox News started to get more prominent. No Child Left Behind kind of made an entire generation stupid enough to elect Trump. Like, the opioid thing started to fucking happen. The fucking crash happened right at the end of the Bush era. That was all calculated. It was a controlled demolition. They want to destroy as much of the federal government as they can while still saddling it with the burden of certain things. That's socialism, right, for the rich. So they want to use the federal government to tax everybody, to tax the underclass, not their rich friends. I mean, a big part of the Bush era was tax cuts, right? Tax cuts for rich people. That was how he got elected. He said, if you vote for me, you'll get $300 back. You'll get a check for $300. That was basically the Bush pitch. If you vote for George W. Bush, they'll send you a check. Meanwhile, the rich people are getting way more money back, The underclass got $300. They thought, oh boy, if I vote for this guy, I get $300. Meanwhile, they stole everything. And they crashed the economy, right? Just in time for Obama to come in and rebuild the whole fucking thing. So, I don't know. I think the whole, not to bum everybody out, but the special place that we hold for 9/11 in our society is kind of like, I heard somebody say that 9/11 was the greatest work of art of the last 25 years, which I think is kind of an interesting way. I don't know if I'd say that tomorrow night because it might piss people off, but it was a publicity stunt. And if you look at it, it was a video. It was really a video work. Terrorism. Is terrorism the ultimate avant-garde? And it was anti-capitalism, right? I mean, it was the World Trade Center. They picked this symbolic fucking image, right? They knew it was New York. It's the fucking media capital of the world, or it definitely was at that time. It played out against this blue sky, right? And so it really was, it's like Mario clouds or whatever. If you remove it of its context, it's just like a Jerry Bruckheimer. It's like this splash of water, of fire and smoke kind of cascading down, almost like a, spider. What's the Kerouac thing? It's almost like that Kerouac. The only ones for me are the people who are mad. If it looked like that, this blue kind of placid sky, and everybody fucking saw it, and it had a profound effect on everything. I mean, it changed every fucking thing, at least for, the Western, I don't know, America. It feels like we're still millennials. Gen Z doesn't have the same kind of like, they seem like more animated. I think millennials were like drugged, antidepressanted out, Prozac out, therapied the fuck out, and they're all just like super mellow, chill, depressed, and there's been like a delayed release. Millennials just feel like they kind of slept through it, or there was this kind of lethargic. Zuckerberg wears a fucking hoodie everywhere. He's like the Bill Gates, right? Even Elon Musk looks like a fucking slob. So there was a lot of barbaric, animalistic violence. I mean, you want the real tragedy. Think about how many fucking people in Iraq died, right? Hundreds of thousands of people in Iraq fucking died. We used as an excuse to just go over there and destroy their country, as far as I can tell, because they wanted to get Saddam Hussein. I don't know. Does everybody know this? Is this just like common? Is this just accepted? Am I just repeating shit that people already assume and know? It feels important to clarify. I don't know. I was surprised that people were a little offended. But that's fine, that's their right. As a performer, it's just hard to know like what your responsibility is. You know, if you look at the punk music or rock and roll music or a lot of the art of that era, Lipstick Traces, the point was to piss people off, right? The point, punk music, the point was to piss people off. Now people, that's like the thing they're most afraid of. I guess because you can lose your career now. You get canceled or whatever, supposedly, if you say the wrong thing. Although I don't know if that's true either. I mean, it wasn't really any different. I mean, Donald Trump didn't get canceled. He became the fucking president. I mean, Alex Jones did get his ass suit off. Maybe there are consequences, but it does feel like, I don't know. Like 9/11 was one of those things that you knew. It was like the JFK assassination. It was like everybody remembers where they were. Everybody's got a 9/11 story. I mean, the people in New York obviously have the craziest 9/11 stories of all. If people want to talk about that tomorrow, I've heard a few people that just had insane fucking. I mean, Monique was saying, right? She was in Sandra Bernhard's apartment on 9/11. That's pretty fucking insane. So it's not. The point of it is not to just piss everybody off though, and like be insensitive about it. We can be sincere. I think. I don't know. Maybe making fun of things maybe is like an immature response. Watching all these poetry videos now, I'm like, ugh. It's just a way more kind of defined, specific the way they talk about everything, and they're not going for those effects. comedy has a lot of hysterical effects and exaggerations and grotesque, and they really emphasize those kind of differences, racial or whatever it is, ethnic, religious, and poetry doesn't do that, but it also doesn't have as big of an audience for some reason. You know, I think there should. I mean, even podcasts don't really seem serious to me. They all seem kind of like brunchy and casual or something. It doesn't seem like the Dick Cavett show. Maybe I don't know. Is the error of having some kind of pretentious intellectual atmosphere. Like My Dinner with Andre or something. Podcasts don't really feel like that. They don't feel like My Dinner with Andre. They feel like workout. They feel like, oh, I've got my Fitbit. I get on the treadmill. I listen to my podcast, and it kind of like as I'm on the treadmill, it's just like it's working out my brain or it's teaching me things. It's like where is the sermonizing? Where is the religion? It's all self-help? Is it all, just like Timothy Ferris? Is it all productivity mindset or efficiency mindset? Or I think we are being like corralled into this micromanaged every minute of our lives, that's so like there's nothing extra to be bohemian. There is no free time to stay up late at the open mic till 3 a.m. There is no time to maybe I should talk about that. There is no time to hang out with your friends smoking weed, just having a conversation. You have to podcast. Otherwise, what's the point? I mean, even today, it was like, I kind of just wanted to lay in bed and read. Who's got time for that? The YouTube automates the reading, right? This is our audible.com. The Weezer song. I don't know if the Weezer song is paid placement or if he just wanted to write an ode to audible.com. I wanted to believe that he just loved books on tape so much, because that's part of my propaganda too, right? I'm trying to fit literary content into video or streaming, radio, audio, video, radio, book TV. Oh, it's these damn allergies. It's that ragweed. It's debatable whether it's working or not. But there's immediate messages that needs to be. We need to talk about the immediate environment and the immediate lives, and it's a diary as well. I loved Franz's wonderful diary poem that he gave me and he read. Franz is really a smart poet. He sent me some A.E. Housman works, and there's a lot of meter and a lot of rhyme. A.E. Housman, I think it was 1859 to 1936, so he kind of straddled the 19th and 20th century, and he has tons of strict meter and music and very emphatic rhythms, and by the early mid 20th century, William Cullen Williams, all those people, Ezra Pound, come in and it all kind of dissipates. It's not that tight anymore. It goes into Weezer. I mean, one of the reasons we listen to Weezer, because it's poetry. That's my line about every Weezer album should be on Pin Sound, is because it is rhymes. There are people who are out there rhyming. They're musicians mostly. Bob Dylan, Lil Wayne, Rivers Cuomo. Rhymes. Rhyme can really make something pop. And so, I don't know, I've been kind of into poets recently who rhyme. Contemporary poets. Some of the people who come to the open mic have some really good rhymes, And I think that there's a lot of value in that, just for that sake. Even if the content may be one of the reasons why I like writing the way I have a lot of internal rhymes. And I need to get, this is one of the reasons why I want to start playing guitar again, because I was good at rhyming, actually. And holy smokes, I would improvise rhymes like forever. And it actually helped me kind of, rhymes help you, weirdly. It's actually, I don't know if it's easier, but like, where you're going kind of, because you have to pick one of a certain number of words that's going to complete the effect, which is a kind of discipline. When people hear rhymes, there's something about it that's just immediately kind of pleasing and impressive, right? It's part of technique or demonstrating a kind of virtuosity. And I don't know, in a certain way, it's maybe more universal than more postmodern, modern stuff. Like the way that I write, the way that I write has been all out of shape. And I think a lot about music. I mean, one of the big things that I'm doing in my poetry is sound and music, but it's not always apparent. And I lose a lot of emotional effect in things to get music. But the emotion's in the music, And if you go back and you close read it, it's there, right? Maybe at a reading, it's not always apparent, totally. The first gloss, which is really what a reading is. It's like glossing over something, more or less. And there's an emotional frequency that's happening, too, that's affecting how the audience is accepting it, Yeah, so how did I start talking about all that? A.E. Housman and rhyme, and I was talking about 9/11. Goddammit, the important thing. Showing the vlogs, getting YouTube to be a literacy program for children. I wish I could say that my videos were for kids, because honestly, 12-year-olds should be watching this. I mean, this is what I would probably be watching if I was 12. When I was 12, I was watching Janine Garofalo and Comedy Central talk about Puritanism. That's what I mean. It's like Comedy Central in the 90s was political. Mark Maron would have gone on there. The 90s were sort of, a regurgitation of the 60s in a certain way. Certain things came back after the Reagan 80s, which were super corporate cocaine, commercial, American Psycho. But the 90s were like sort of Woodstock 94 and hippie resurgence of sorts. Corporate hippie, Bill Clinton, right? But it was a little bit peaceful until 9/11 happened. It scared the shit out of everybody for the rest of our lives. Let the healing begin, is what I'm saying. Let the healing fucking begin already. Jesus Christ. Let's forget about it. Forget about it. What does it say on the sign when you get to Brooklyn? Forget about it. Forget about it. Hey, forget about it. Hey, 9/11, forget about it. No, don't forget about it. Paint a mural of the Twin Towers on the back of your pickup truck in Columbus, Ohio. Get Osama bin Laden targets and go to the shooting range and, shoot your fucking AR-15 at Osama bin Laden targets. There was a lot of racist shit on morning radio. There was a lot of... And it was, that's the other thing. It was a holy war, right? It was definitely used to vilify Muslim people in this country. I mean, that's one of the things, comedians come to the open mic and talk about it. A lot of comedians are dealing with this kind of trauma. They look a certain way, so people think a certain thing about them. A lot of comedians talk about 9/11, It is a, I thought it was a funny, because it makes us all nervous. I don't know, it was brutal. It was violence. And they exposed us all to it. We all stood there and watched it over and over and over and over again on CNN, and, they interrupted all the regular shows. It was all fucking 9/11, man. The telethon, remember that telethon with every celebrity was on that thing. Billy Joel, Brad Pitt, Clooney, all of them. I guess. I don't know. It was Julia Roberts on it. And they interrupted everything. It was on every channel. Neil Young. I mean, everybody, even the hippies were like, we got to kick these people's ass. Even McCartney was like, we gotta beat that. We gotta blow the shit out of them. We gotta blow them up. We gotta beat their ass. These Islamic terrorists. It's like they're trying to take our freedom and shooby dooby doo. We got to go over there. The shoe bombs. They took the World Trade Center down. We got to beat their ass. We're gonna bomb them into oblivion. I definitely heard the term sand a bunch of times. That was this term that was coined. There was a lot of that going around. There was a lot of racism in the years after 9/11 about Al Qaeda. Oh my God. And I'd rather not relive it, but it was a war. It was totally a war. It was on television. Oh my God. It was just a weird era, It wasn't because it wasn't like this kind of like thing where it was like World War II or something where you're just like forced into it. Like there were people that volunteered for it, that went and got paid, Oh my God, I knew a couple people that died. Not necessarily, okay, I knew one guy. This is my 9/11 broadcast. This one's for the veterans, okay? This one's for the fucking vets, okay? A big part of this goddamn country is employed by the military-industrial complex. Jack Kerouac helped build the Pentagon. He was a sheet metal worker on the Pentagon. And a lot of fucking people in this country are in the goddamn military, or have been, or are sort of on active duty, or the National Guard, or the Coast Guard, or the ROTC, or the cops. I mean, you want to talk, 9/11 was completely used to glamorize the cops. And, not even that many of them died. It was more firefighters. Not that I don't want to get on any lists or anything, but like, it was mostly firefighters, And yet it was just used like, oh man, the fucking NYPD, man. Yes, we love the NYPD. I want a fucking hat that says NYPD on it. It's like, what about George Floyd and defund the police and all that? That was 20 years later. That was partially a reaction to 9/11. Everything became militarized. Right? The airport, there's a guy with a fucking machine gun and body armor. Like he's in fucking, Baghdad or whatever. Okay, so I knew a guy in college. We used to play Halo, right? A computer simulation of war. We played this. This is all I did in college. My freshman year was play Halo with my friends. Which, to be honest, is what most people do in college. I shouldn't feel bad because most people are still out there playing Halo. At least I'm doing poetry and getting in touch with my, artistic, sensitive, peaceful side. It's all about life. It's about bringing life and light and growth and green. And so 9/11 is death. It's all death and security and fear and Homeland Security, RoboCop. It just felt like the world became RoboCop. It just became a big bank that's like RoboCop. Like, we will kill you. We can detain you. We'll put you in Guantanamo Bay. We don't need a reason. The Patriot Act. The Patriot Act. We're all patriots, goddammit. You're either a patriot, we're going to put you into Guantanamo Bay. And, poor people, they didn't have a fucking choice. Poor people in the wild west of this fucking ghetto-ass country. What are they going to do? There's already guns everywhere. You might as well go to Iraq and, like, get in a fucking Humvee and, like, you can ghost ride the whip and put it on. Now it's all on TikTok. I watched the withdrawal of Afghanistan from fucking TikTok. Those wars think about that. We got into Afghanistan. It's like Tom Brady's career. You didn't think it would last that long. Something happened, something weird. The generation time span just elongated and stretched. The Patriots won their first Super Bowl right after 9/11. I think it was fixed. I really think it was fixed. I think Tom Brady, it was all fixed. It was all a conspiracy, man. He was in on 9/11. That's why they killed Tillman, man. That's why they killed Tillman. He was a fucking... So anyway, yeah. when 9/11 happened, there wasn't even phones. You know, really nobody had a cell phone on 9/11, really at all. That was one of the things about it. People were missing and shit. You know, the videos were all like camcorders because it was New York and shit. People were actually filming on like big ass Sony Handycam or whatever, high 8. My camera actually was made. The camera I filmed the open mics with was made in 2001. So it's 9/11 era equipment. And then we watched the withdrawal of Afghanistan on fucking TikTok. That's how long that fucking war lasted. I mean, it's the longest war this country has ever fought. And they did it, it was hiding in plain sight. You know, that's what was so weird about it. It was just like, just keep sending the money. Just keep pumping the money into BlackRock or Halliburton or whatever the fuck it is. All these people who are in the White House, they all are like on the boards of these companies, you know, Enron. It's all insider everything, you know. They did it in plain sight. Dick Cheney doesn't even have a heart. He's got an electronic fucking machine battery thing. You know, he's got no heartbeat. Like, you couldn't, it's, they were worse than Trump. You know, Trump didn't really, you know, I mean, he wrecked everything with the pandemic, but that was coming probably. You know, it wasn't necessarily, he didn't necessarily cause it per se, I suppose. Although, who knows? I blame Trump. But, you know, Bush, it was calculated. It was all strategery, okay? The strategery fucked this country up. I mean, I know Will Ferrell, that was real funny and everything. Anchorman, it was all the comedy. Oh, my God. All the comedy after 9/11 was completely a reaction. All that Anchorman shit. Everybody talked in this voice. I'm not even mad. I'm a man. That was the last of, like, macho, dumbass, misogynist. I'm a man. You know, that all those jokes were about the 70s kind of insane, toxic masculinity. I'm Ron Burgundy. Everybody was, even Colbert kind of talked like that. Everybody's like, 9/11 really fucked us up. So we're all like, we're all hyper masculine for some reason because you know, you can't be a pussy. It's all about dad bod and drinking PBRs that have a American flag on the can. Didn't they renamed Budweiser America? They just called it America. That's 9/11, man. It was all just like a rollout for just this ridiculous patriotism. Sorry to just, I'm just like sounding off and just like telling the fucking fire ass truth about 9/11, but Jesus Christ. So anyway, okay, so it's personal. So this guy I knew, Josh, we played Halo. You know, he'd be in the fucking Warthog and he'd hit a mine or whatever. And so the dude went to Iraq because he had to pay for his student loans and shit. You know, part of the student loan debt was trying to get people to go to war. They couldn't draft your ass, but like, if you wanted to go to college, it was going to cost you $100,000. Oh, if you go to Iraq 4 fucking times or more, you get the GI Bill. You know, my friend John Ryan he was in the Persian Gulf on a fucking aircraft carrier. He did two tours. He was there, you know, in the Persian Gulf in fucking 2008, whatever. So this guy Josh went over to fucking, I think he was in Iraq, it may have been Afghanistan, and he was in a Humvee. They hit a fucking landmine. Everybody in the fucking Humvee died. I think he was like leaning over or something. They said he would have died if he was like reaching for something. And so he survived. But he came back to the United States and he got in a motorcycle accident and died. You know, like the effects of that war really have reverberated for a long time. You know, a lot of people are PTSD'd, a lot of veterans commit suicide, right? So the effects are ugly. You know, it wasn't this, you know, this fucking, I DJ'd a wedding for this guy who had been in fucking Afghanistan or something. And, you know, afterwards I said thank you or whatever for his service. And he was like, no, man, like, it was not, you know, we shouldn't have been there. You know, I wish I hadn't done it. You know, it was just, and so it's like, I'm sure a lot of people feel that way. I feel a lot of people feel duped. That's why I have to get on here and just harp and just really hammer away at the truth about 9/11 because Charlie Sheen is out there. He was one of the first 9/11 truthers. Not that this is not a big thing for me. I mean, who knows what the fuck happened? But what it was used for was what was really damaging. The whole thing, psychologically. So, what can we do but sort of. One of the funniest memes I ever saw, and when the healing maybe began, was okay, it was Randy Macho Man Savage doing the elbow drop from the Twin Towers as they were on fire. And the photoshopping was so good. You know, for 2006, 2007, this was like MySpace era. I think I found it. There was this website that was like the most recent images posted to the LiveJournal. I love this website. The internet used to be a lot more random. You know, you could just wander. Now the internet is literally just Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, and it's just these four things that people. But it was like, you know, this website was like the most recent images posted to the LiveJournal, just random stream. And so I think I saw this Randy Savage doing the elbow drop. So I don't know. That Hulk Hogan thing was a little insensitive. The people running screaming from Hogan hulking up. That's not a funny image. People running screaming from falling. But it was weird how it imitated the Jerry Bruckheimer movies, you know? It was just like Armageddon, those films that came in the 90s. So, but I don't know. It's also like, it's just such an intense thing. And the imagery is so iconic. I mean, Jesus Christ. That's why, I mean, it really was some kind of profound media experience for everybody. You know, I don't know if we would be watching it the same way. I mean, we watched it all on TV at the same time, you know. Everybody's TV was just tuned into it for days and days and days. So, I don't know. We're trying to undo that. We're just trying to focus on our little poetry life where we're doing the Weezer play. And so we're also going back to Jefferson Market Library this Thursday. I'm just going to do some plugs. I'm going to do 20 more minutes. Thank you for watching. I know we've been all over the place, and we really went deep on 9/11 in a way I wasn't really anticipating. But, you know, it is tomorrow, and so it feels like a good time to do sort of an audit. Just checking in and sort of you know, I don't know. But it's also like we should move on. I don't know. That's one reason why I'm like, maybe I should move away from New York. You know, like being in New York, 9/11 is so, and I've been so weirdly connected to it in a kind of a way. Like I was down at Ground Zero on the 10-year anniversary, on the 20-year anniversary, 2021, September 11th, I was down there. Just kind of down there, you know, just by coincidence or whatever. And so, and like, you know, Poet's House is down there, so you know a lot of my education was at Poet's House, just going to Poet's House once a week or whatever. And so the fucking memorial is down there, Beekman Place or whatever. Now it's a mall. You know, it's like it's so crazy. They try to pass it off like 9/11 didn't happen here. Like I remember we saw this fucking. It was a David Bowie tribute show. They got like I think they had David Bowie's original guitarist from Low or whatever at this show. It's like, it's in this mall and shit. It's like, dude, 9/11 happened right here. I can't, you know, how are we going to act like this isn't where 9/11 happened? We're just going to watch this David Bowie. Like, they're clearly art washing it. It's just art washing the whole fucking thing. And I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know if I want to think about 9/11 anymore. It's such a sad thing. And like, let's just move on. I don't know. And I do think it was like, it did change New York too. I think it was part of like the gentrification cycle. That's why I think that they were in on it in some way. The Illuminati. I definitely think there was, you know, there was coordination. There, or at least like, yeah, I think they helped them. You know, they let him get in the country and you go to these flight schools and shit. They knew it was happening. They wanted to help him do it. It was a controlled demolition. It was a satanic ritual on the, they sacrificed the towers on the altar of the new millennium, you know? And the Christian soldiers. That's what Iraq was all about. You know, let's get Hobby Lobby. What's that movie, Three Kings? It was all plundering, you know? We're going to go to these Islamic countries and steal all the shit. You know, we're going to steal all the resources, the oil, the artifacts, white people shit, white people imperialism, same as it ever was. You know, we want the oil, we want the whatever it is, poppy seed, the opium, you know. I mean, fucking Afghanistan was like the world heroin. All the poppy fields are there. It's like, is that why there was an opioid epidemic here? Because all of a sudden we had all this fucking poppy seeds and shit. Oh, let's manufacture some fucking whatever, pills for some goddamn hillbillies. Get high, feel great, get rich, make money, pharmaceutical dinners. So I don't know. I'm sick of living in the shadow of the Twin Tower. I don't know. The Twin Towers are kind of emblematic of when New York was cool. I think, their lifespan was not long, but that is kind of like, that's when New York was the artistic capital, or a lot of it, If you look at Bernadette Minner's memory pictures, her memory piece, she's got a lot of pictures of the Twin Towers being built, which are really beautiful pictures of them. They were beautiful buildings. I mean, I never saw them in person. But, yeah, so anyway, we've got more poetry coming up. We got more poetry we did in the past. We're trying to put it on YouTube so people can watch it, so poor people getting $53,000 internet in the boondocks in bumfuck Egypt. We'd like to shout out to our viewers out there in bumfuck Egypt. Our viewers all across the globe. I was looking at the analytics today. We've got viewers in India. We've got viewers in London. We've got viewers in LA. Thank you for watching, everybody. We love you. The movement is getting started. I can feel it. I can feel the energy. I feel people getting psyched about what we've got to offer. And so, I'd love to travel the world. That's the next goal, is to take the open mic on tour. And to take the talk pieces on tour, to do live talk pieces. People need to watch the goddamn live stream so they get, so I can do this live. I need the whole point of booking that gig, okay, so after the rooftop gig last Saturday, I did 10 minutes at the beginning of the rooftop gig. I read my poetry and I kind of did some spastic, I don't even know what, performance art type comedy thing. And Singya was like, why didn't you do more of that? I want to see more of that. You didn't do, you only did 10 minutes. You should have done. And so I thought, and so she actually was like, kind of requested it. So I was like, oh, fuck, okay. She leaves in October. I want to do a gig where I do an hour of what I did last week on the rooftop. Because Singya gave me the inspiration, And so I booked this thing. Well, I emailed them because they had an Instagram post. They had a gig 9/17. So I was like, that'd be pretty good. Let's do that. So I emailed them. They're like, oh, we don't have that anymore, but we have these dates. And literally the best one was Saturday at 9 p.m., 6 days from when I emailed them. So it was very short notice. And it was kind of thrown together, which is how I like to do it. I actually like kind of curating these shows from people who come to the open mic. I like having a show, and then I'm way better at doing things face to face. I'm really not good at email or messaging because I smoke weed all the time. So, if people come to the open mic, that's when I'm like, hey, do you want to do this show? Bang, bang, bang. And then I just make the flyer. That's like their next message about it. I really don't want to do any kind of e-communication at all if I can help it. And so I've kind of liked that process, actually. Book a gig and then be like, okay, I'll get this musician, this comedian, this poet. I think that's a really cool kind of collage. And like I said, I'm really proud of these shows. I think they've been great, at really cool venues all across the city. And so, it's a way of going on tour in the city and bringing it to different places and showing that we can exist outside of this one space. And, I've been doing this for a while. I've been doing shows at a lot of different venues. I've done shows in LA and other places, Beyond Baroque. And we book shows a lot of places, So this is not anything new, but connecting it to the open mic kind of helps because there's such a tremendous pool. And it's nice to be able to showcase people a little bit more, to give them a little more time and, help them develop, but also kind of like, it's refracting with the other artists who are there. in kind of creating a reverberation chamber and a work in and of itself. Each one of these events is kind of its own work. That's how I feel about doing these live events. They're sort of like happenings, or it is a little bit different than just like a concert. Having comedians, having poets, having projections, having lights, performance art, whatever, curated. It's like putting together a literary magazine. This is what I've been doing instead of doing a literary magazine. It's just live publishing in a lot of ways, and then publishing it on YouTube. YouTube publishing is what I'm trying to push on people, but it's also accessible and free. What do people look at all the time? They're looking at their goddamn phones. They're not looking at books. It's a struggle to get yourself to read. And I do print books, and people can read my books. I encourage people to buy my books. They're discounted because they all got water damage. They're all wet as hell. But YouTube and the phone is the fucking book. It is the profane illumination. Listening, I mean, turn the captions on. Now you're reading. Everybody watches captions on their shit anyway now. It's like weird. Everybody's reading television. So that's what I'm trying to do is promote an intellectual bandwidth. There should be an intellectual cultured level to this fucking country, or this, it shouldn't just be a big gas station with a bunch of beef jerky and Lay's flavored potato chips, there and various inhumane, ungodly, combinations of Monster Energy drink. Like, there should be a real New Yorker magazine, not this fake celebrity worshiping corporate, fake, did I say fake? Privileged empire that we have now, that's just, people co-opting the brand. There should be a place for things to develop into a life of their own, seedlings. It is frustrating still having to do everything and trying to make poetry exist in this country. There's not a lot of money for it. There is not a lot of hospitable environments for it. There's not a big audience. Although, we think that there could be. There could be a huge, look at the Beats, look at City Lights, look at Lunch Poems, look at, people want poetry, people need poetry. There could be a huge, huge, huge. I mean, I think stand-up comedy and podcasts at their best maybe give people sort of what poetry can give. Louis, everything is amazing and no one is happy. That's kind of a poetry line. That's like a slam poetry line, sort of. And so we're trying to forge a new path and attract a general audience and become media superstars and be worshipped as celebrity gods. By pretending that we're not celebrities, by pretending we don't care about that, hopefully we become huge celebrities and people worship us as creative gods. Because isn't that everyone's goal now, to be heralded as some kind of god genius? I mean, or I don't know, just even make a living. I'd love to, I'd love to be able to fix my teeth, and I don't think about money. I never, with all of the events I've done, I really try not to think. I've never thought about money, and I never made any money. With the open mic, there is a commercial pressure because of the economics of the venue, but that's understandable. It's worth it, absolutely. But it would also be nice in this country if we could create an environment where people had free time and resources and spaces that were convenient, and where they could network and collaborate. Not network, I mean, I hate this word. This cyber. We're not goddamn computers. Not yet, anyway. They haven't put the chip in me yet. God damn it. At least not that I'm aware of. I did get the vaccine, so maybe I already am chipped up. Maybe we got inner space riding around in there. Martin Short in a little fucking submarine. My bloodstream. Leading us down the primrose path. So I need to do an hour comedy special, is the point. I booked this gig and I just didn't do it. The thing just fell apart. It just totally fell apart. So I kind of blew it. What was I just talking about? Poetry Magazine's not going to do it. None of these official institutions, they're all too... the outlaws are always where the cool fucking literature is. Henry Miller or... these people are not necessarily accepted. James Joyce, I mean, maybe James Joyce was. We should be proud of that we're making it exist. But there should be more of a commons and more of an infrastructure for people to have free time to go to open mics, to go to readings, to print things, to collate with each other, to live stream, to Twitch stream, I think everybody should be selling poetry in the park and trying to make money off of it. I think it is a conspiracy against us to tell us that, to convince us that poetry is not worth anything. I don't think we make it worth anything by charging each other, but I definitely think there could be a massive, massive audience for poetry if it wasn't so lame. It's all so lame, So I appreciate, stylistically, I'm trying not to be lame. My poetry, I'm trying to posit or create or, write my own vision of what I think is contemporary and what modern day sounds like. With an understanding of, right, things like A.E. Housman or Tennyson or Gerard Manley Hopkins or Wordsworth or Blake or, fucking Richard Suckling or Beowulf or Gilgamesh or Homer or Sappho or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. David Lee Roth. Or here's the book of the day, by the way, as we're coming to the end of the broadcast. The Black Poets, edited by Dudley Randall, a new anthology. I bought this in Columbus. It's got an amazing lineup of black poets. Robert Hayden, Phyllis Wheatley, Paul Laurence Dunbar, James Weldon Johnson, Langston Hughes, Claude McKay, Gene Toomer, Melvin B. Tolson, Sterling A. Brown, Arna Bontemps, Frank Horn, County Cullen, Frank Marshall Davis, Gwendolyn Brooks, Amiri Baraka, and more. I mean, it's a great book. Check it out. I mean, order off Amazon. Give Bezos, Zucker, Muskaberg your fucking social credit score. Just take my clout score and charge my Instagram account for the crypto, for the socio crypto token fraction. Yeah, your popularity is your currency now. How cool you are is your monetary value, of which you just are worthless. There's very few of us, unless you just turn into some kind of generic... I don't even know what the fuck is going on. I don't follow people that have 3 million followers. Who does that? I don't know. I don't really... Does anybody use Instagram for anything other than self-promotion? Does anybody actually use it to consume content? Who is out there, consuming content on Instagram? For me, it's all production, baby. What can I share? I can't even look at other people's stories. It's too psychologically harmful and risky and dangerous. There's very few people's stories I can even look at because I don't, I might see something. Instagram wants you to see the things that are just going to impair you and hurt you immediately and as much as possible and linger. It's trauma. They learned from 9/11. They learned from 9/11 how to traumatize us into needing more from them, into infantilizing us. So an entire generation has arrested development. So we need Big Daddy of the state and Big Daddy of the military to protect us. The guns, all these shootings. We need superhero daddy, Spider Daddy, and Bat Daddy. I read today Batman was based partially on Bing Crosby. Daniel Kane, or whoever the fucking guy, Bob Kane, think is his name, who created Batman. It was a comic that he had drawn to Bing Crosby, of Batman and Bing Crosby. And Batman is saying, hey, my creator, really thought about you when he was creating me, Bing Crosby. So for all you fucking Batman nerds out there who are really into Heath Ledger and all that fucking toxic, you want to talk about toxic bullshit, stop making the fucking Batman movies, for Christ's sake! Jesus Christ! Stop making them! This is my plea. Please, God! Can we get out of the 9/11 mindset, okay? Walt Whitman, what would his 9/11 poem be? Oh, I'll bet Walt Whitman would write a real piece of shit about 9/11. Two towers, silver, phalluses, flaming. Democracy. I am with you. 9/11. Osama bin Laden. Freedom. Osama bin Laden will die. He will pay the price. Obama killed Osama, okay? How crazy is it that just 7 years after 9/11, we had a president named Obama? Osama did 9/11, and then we had a president named Obama. I do think it was some kind of weird PTSD. It was some kind of that's just like the weirdness of life, the synchronicity, the Jungian. Obama, was Obama Taliban? That's a Trump conspiracy right there. Obama was in the Taliban. He was Osama bin Laden. He did 9/11. Obama did 9/11. He was there. He remote controlled the planes. Too soon, God damn it. You insensitive prick. I'm going to get canceled for my 9/11 show. I don't care. This is the hill I'm ready to die on, all right? This is New York. We're going to get on the fucking mic. We're going to tell the goddamn truth about 9/11. They're not going to stop us tomorrow night. They are not going to fucking stop us. We're going to spit straight fire about fucking 9/11, okay? We're going to talk about Rescue Me, Dennis Leary. We're going to talk about the Toby Keith fucking 5 o'clock somewhere industrial complex. Guess what? Because we've got 4 viewers, I'm going to do 2 more hours. I'm going to do 2 more hours just for you people. Let me get my salami and my kettle chips. Would you like it better if I was live streaming myself playing video games? Wouldn't that be way more entertaining? Wouldn't you just like to watch my screen as I play video games? Thousands of people would watch me play video games on Twitch. Here I am, telling the truth about 9/11. I've got 3 people. It's a fucking conspiracy, okay? It's the CIA, it's the NSA, it's big data, it's Sergey and the other guy, it's Google X. They're burying me in the mix, okay? They're burying my truth. They want you to keep watching fucking people play video games. Keep watching fucking Super Smash Melee streams. You fucking children. You fucking children. Grow the fuck up. Okay? 9/11 was 22 years ago. Grow the fuck up. There's an entire generation of people who were not even alive. They grew up in a thunderstorm of school shootings that terrorized their every waking minute. The custodians and the guidance counselors have guns. That was a great joke, Janine Garofalo. I was Watch the Gotham comedy with Janine Garofalo. She's hilarious, man. She is a genius. Janine Garofalo is a genius. It's amazing that Janine Garofalo is in fucking New York comedy clubs. I saw she did a fucking show at the Producers Club. Dude, as we well know, the Producers Club, I think, is the bottom of the barrel. Maybe Broadway Comedy Club. Producers Club is the bottom of the barrel, I think. That's why I love it so much. It really is the best. I love going to Producers Club. But goddamn, I have to, Janine Garofalo, but you don't have to go to Producers Club. You're a star. You're in The Truth is Cats and Dogs with Uma Thurman, man. You don't have to stoop to this. You don't have to do the fucking Producers Club. So my dream, I'm manifesting Janine Garofalo on the open mic. She told the truth about 9/11, okay? Dude, that would be the ultimate get. I really hope John King shows up tomorrow night. He wore his 9/11 shirt last week. He pre-gamed. He was ready for 9/11 last week. I don't know if he can make it out tonight, but tomorrow night. But God, I hope John King comes out tomorrow night. He's the ultimate 9/11 guest. Other than Janine Garofalo. I mean, Janine Garofalo would be really the best person we could have on the 9/11 show. So maybe I'll see Janine Garofalo. I'm manifesting Janine Garofalo tomorrow night. I mean, she's like my dream guest on Easy Paradise Open Mic. If she did the Producers Club, I think there's probably a chance maybe we could get her for the, hopefully. So, come out tomorrow night to the 9/11 extravaganza. The 1-year anniversary is coming up. God, what else? What do they fucking talk about? I don't know. I'm just going to harp on how we're trying to raise consciousness. Meditation, I've been off my meditation a little bit. Meditation, not medication, okay? That's one of my catchphrases here in the Jim Jones cult. Drink the Kool-Aid, the death camps of YouTube. Meditation, not medication, okay? Get off your antidepressants. Fix your fucking diet, okay? The reason why a lot of people have serotonin problems or whatever is because their diet is all sugar and shit. It's like, fix your goddamn diet and get off the meds. Be a man. Be a man, okay? Be a man. Don't be a wimp. Poetry, read goddamn poetry every second of your life. It's a natural high. Listen to poetry. And poets, don't be so goddamn snobby, man. That's the thing I can't stand about these poets, man. I can't stand that Pin Sound is like a personal empire that Charles Bernstein has built to himself. It's like, it's all who he thinks is cool. It's all who Charles Bernstein approves of. And it's like, there's he's always posting new shit of him. Oh, here's me in France reading at this, he's connected to so much shit. It's like, he's wormed his way into academia. And that gives him a lot of, like, leverage. That shit really matters. It just feels official, and it feels like it's on the record, and probably there's money involved, and he puts it on Pen Sound. It's all on fucking Pen Sound. And it's like, dude, come to the open mic, you snob. You elitist snob. Get down and dirty with these comedians. Get ready for some of this shit, Charles Bernstein. You couldn't handle it. Your head would explode. If you came to this open mic and you heard the truth that James Brown spits, that's fucking poetry. You want to talk about fucking poetry? James Brown. That dude is writing some of the best fucking poetry out there. I love James Brown's poetry. Get in the fucking mix with James Brown, Charles Bernstein. Be a man. We're going to gender it in a very toxic way. I don't know. I was born before the Gen Z safe space extravaganza, so we're hardcore. We were marinated in the fires of 9/11, man. Fucking Pennsylvania, Flight 95, the Pentagon, the whole fucking thing, dude. Let's roll, bitch. We're all tatted up. We're all Vikings. We're all overweight. We've been eating Baconators our whole lives. Slugging back fucking Miller Lite, PBR, natural ice, playing beer pong, playing cornhole, playing pickleball like a motherfucker. Gentrifying the neighborhoods, kicking the old people out of their rent-controlled apartments, kicking the homeless people out of the shelters, turning the communities, stealing the communities, stealing the brownstones, stealing the townhouses, art washing the neighborhoods, putting up ugly murals, destroying the culture, writing hideously bad poetry all over the sidewalks of New York. I gotta call out the Persian poet The Persian poet is the worst poet alive. Whoever is writing too many souls, not enough, or too many bodies, not enough souls, whoever is writing this on New York City sidewalks, please stop. You are destroying whatever artistic credibility and magic and clout. I really think that's what's happening. In the 70s, there was all this magic that 60s, 50s, whatever, 40s, there was all this magic that happened in New York. And literally over the last 2 decades, all these rich people with no taste, these Ameritrash, these Eurotrash, these jet setters, these global elite, the private venture capitalists, the financier class, they've swooped in, the children of the people who stole all the money during the Reagan era, the children of American Psycho, people like Dan Bilzerian, people like, who's that guy, Dave Portnoy, Barstool Sports. What the fuck business does Barstool Sports have in the West Village? Get out of the West Village, Barstool Sports. We're exercising the West Village of Barstool Sports. Dave Portnoy, out, out, out. It's never going to happen. It's over. It's over. We are citizens of the internet now. That's our gathering place. It's the best we can do. And so that's why I'm live streaming. That's why people need to get in the comments section. Oh, I forgot I've disabled comments. No questions at this time, please. I don't know. So, yeah, there's terrible poetry all over New York. It's hard to find the good poetry. A lot of the good poets moved. They had to move to, now there's all these poets that are sort of staffing all these different universities all across the country who maybe would be living in New York. There's a lot of poets in upstate. A lot of the really strong poets of New York City of the 2000s or the 90s, they all live upstate. There's all these good readings in like Hudson and shit. Stacy Samasik or George Quasha. Who else is up there? Tons of people. Everybody. The, cyber dystopia. We're trying. We're trying to make our little murmur of truth and insight as we find it. And we're doing our best, let he who has ears, let them hear. And no one really is listening. We got one viewer. I'm going to talk maybe till 1 hour, 140. Maybe I'll do 140. Book TV, is there anything else I need to talk about with the playlist? There's no actual books on it, you may have noticed. It's not actually a reading list. That was part of the joke. I could do a reading list. To be honest, I haven't really read. This is one of the things my dad harps on constantly. Every time I talk to my dad on the phone, he always mentions this, which is that movies are better than books because you see more and you see it faster. You see it out how it actually was. And they're more, part of it is it's more entertaining, it's compressed. But this is something he mentions every time I talk to him on the phone. He thinks movies are really superior to books. And the same story, you should watch the movie. Which, the common wisdom, right, is the book is better than the movie. Do people still think this? People don't even read the books anymore, do they? I guess if it's Harry Potter or some kind of stupid... the things that people think are good books are ludicrous. I was in Park Slope. There's this romance novel bookstore. Or fantasy. It's just like fan fiction. Everybody writes fan fiction now. All the serious writers are writing like fan fiction. It's like, there is no highbrow. I weep for the future. I'm the most pretentious man alive. I'm the only pretentious man left. I will be pretentious till I fucking die because I care. Somebody's got, I'm not the, I guess there's people more pretentious than me, but somebody's got to be sort of a secular, non-academic professor. I'm a show business professor, I'm a nightclub lecturer. And we're inventing as we go to prove that we can. That's part of the journey and part of the mission. It doesn't all have to be, writers are so uptight, and it's, they just want to be cool like everybody else. like River says. It's a hip hop world. Everybody wants to be cooler than everybody else, except me. I just want to get wild and be alive. And getting on stage and being freaky and really passionate is the best way I know how. It's like howling at the moon. That's what we're doing. We're animals here. God damn it. When it comes down to it, that's all we are, really. We're animals. So we're passionate. We need to catharticize our emotional inner world and art, performance, shamanistic, drawing the magic circle. You know, it's I do think it's special that the open mic is a show of other artists. That's actually cool. The people who are there are thinking and smart and creative and actively doing it. They're courageous enough to go out and get in front of people that, under all that pressure with all those other people, push through. That does take a lot of courage. And so I commend these artists, and that's actually an honor to sort of have an audience of, not that it is an audience, it's just people waiting to perform. I mean, this open mic, or these other shows, it's not like people are coming out to those. I'm not good at publicizing. I mean, you saw the flyer Kuzu Daddy made. He printed a bunch of them out. They wouldn't let him hang them up in the club for some reason. But I'm bad at publicizing things in advance. That's, I'm too spur of the moment. I'm too last minute. And I wish the world was that way. I wish there was just this shared bohemia. I don't know how much of my friends are rich or how they do it. They all sort of have part-time-ish jobs, I guess. Or their parents pay for shit, maybe. Or they're students in the sort of never land of... or they're former finance people living on their savings or whatever. Or they have crypto. Me, I'm just poor. I'm doing it the old-fashioned way. I'm just poor. And it's hard. It's hard to do it this way. I mean, New York is not hospitable as in the same way. And but it is. I mean, you can still come here and do it. Tons of people are doing it. And I don't know, though. It's just like we want to get a seriousness into it. I do think that there's like a frivolousness. People celebrate frivolousness and pop culture. You have to speak through these kind of images and terms and things. That's what even the smart people relate to. Even the smart people, want to talk about Britney or use Britney as some kind of example of workers' solidarity or something. Like Britney's a communist or whatever. It's like, they used to have fucking... I mean, I know Che Guevara posters are like cheesy, but at least they had Che Guevara posters. It wasn't just like, oh, Britney is a socialist. Britney is actually... It's like, I guess she... Is she? Is there proof of this? Is Britney, like, actually reading the Communist Manifesto? Maybe she is. Maybe I'm an ass, just talking out of my ass. And I need to shut up with my dumbass male opinion. Yeah, so the YouTube playlist is not actually a reading list. I don't necessarily know that I agree with my dad that the movie is always better. It's one of these. It's once again, it's the medium is the message. If you're watching a movie, if you're watching television, your body on an anatomical level, even though like maybe intellectually you're understanding it in a different way, on an anatomical level, on a biological level, that's what you're receiving. You're receiving the act of watching television. You're receiving this sort of passive cathode, refresh, zombifying, right? It is pacifying. It is making you passive. It is making, that's why it's good at selling. The commercials, they just put some big fat ass all beef patty on a grill, put some Roy Orbison music over it, or fucking Traveling Wilburys, or, any of the classic rock hits have been ruined by commercials. The greatest music ever made has all been ruined by commercials. but I'm an old hippie, so yeah. But books. Like what do I have? I'm paying $200 of storage for what? For my goddamn books. I've got thousands of books. They're heavy. They cost money. Cost money to store them, to move them around. YouTube, bam, it's your phone. Your phone is the book, whether we like it or not. This is kind of the world we live in. And why not try to live up to speed, up to the moment, and get the literature out through the book of the illuminated manuscript of the touch screen and the home button. And so, it's always on people. They're in the subway. That, podcasts, they're looking for value and information. Okay, well, this is one thing I wanted to say about movies are compressed information, right? This is something I heard Donald Glover say. He said art is compressed information. I think that's kind of interesting. I suppose in a way that's true. Art is a way of organizing information and compressing it to give it meaning. And, in that sense, a film does have a lot more information because every part of the visual is information. The clothes, the buildings, the sound, the dialogue, the characters' voices. You actually see literally and exactly. You're getting tons of information, visual information, right? With a book, you're not getting that much information. You have to fill in. That's part of what's important about the book, right? Is it makes you a little more active. It's not an automated process, unless you know how to read and unless you force yourself to read, that book ain't going to read itself. This is why audible.com and, voice to speech or text to speech, right, is starting to become more popular where like you can listen to the New York Times, right? Every article has got like an option where you press it and you can listen to the fucking article, right? Because it's kind of easier, maybe. And you're getting the same information, maybe. Or at least, you're getting as much of it maybe as you want to get. We're in a too long didn't read world, who's got time? And we're addicted to our phones anyway. The audience is on the phone, right? That is the medium. Nobody's watching a television set in the same way that they were, really. Cable is dying. Network television, they're all kind of rejiggering to fit streaming and whatnot. And it's so the venue, the little people are all in the phone, like now. You're probably watching this on a phone, maybe, I imagine. Give me a like if you're watching it on a phone. Or, maybe, you might be watching it on a laptop. That's possible. But not on a fucking television. Or if you are, it's a Roku or something. You couldn't even watch this, right, on television. It's only available on YouTube. But I think that's an opportunity for writers. And, you can just put your content directly out there and do readings. All writers like doing readings. Go live. The pandemic kind of normalized it. Before the pandemic, if you went live, people just thought you were crazy and unhealthy and a narcissist or something. And now it's like, we're all just trying to reach out and touch each other, as AT&T used to say. And it's weird. It's still a phone, right? So this is kind of a phone conversation. I mean, I only have 3 people watching. This is basically a party line of people eavesdropping on me thinking out loud. But to me, I do look at this as a form of writing. This is what I do largely instead of writing like actual prose now. I don't keep a prose diary. My diary in poetry is extremely truncated and, cut from the big raw stuff of all the work that happens. Whereas this is more like the act of writing where it's like you get in there and you push yourself to do it. It's work, right, to get on here and talk for 2 hours. And reading is work in a way. That's why it's hard to do it now, I think, because there's so many things in our lives that are demanding our attention, that are easier to do. We're in, and just like the way we use our consciousness is not the what we, we're encouraged to be social, to be outgoing, to be out in the world, to work, to talk to people, to go to the, and so reading is something you do alone by yourself. It takes tons of time. It's silent. It's like a prayer. That's another thing. A lot of these poets in this video were talking about how it's all, poetry is a prayer. Reading is a prayer. That's definitely how I look at it. And, I definitely look at life as like a sacred thing. I'm trying to make my whole life as holy as possible. I'm trying to live every second in not a religious way, just like a sacred way. Life is miraculous, and every single second is like amazing. I mean, look at this, the adventure I'm in right now, the dream. I've had to sacrifice a lot to even get this far, and I haven't really succeeded at anything in any kind of way that really matters in any kind of clout world or money world. I have no money or success or anything. I'm worthless. My net worth is nothing. And that's a generational thing too. I think that is part of the 9/11 reorientation of our society and traumatization. And I blame 9/11. We're wrapping up here, okay? Thank you for watching. I need to eat. I need to get some more water. Trying to keep it alive and just prove that you can do it with no budget, no money, on the kind of outskirts. You don't need an institution. You don't need clout. You don't need anybody to tell you you can do it. People have been telling me I can't do it, usually. Important people I looked up to, have discouraged me, and I don't care. Because this is life. This is my life, and I think part of living it to the fullest is poetry, and for me, big time. I wouldn't know what I would do without it. Speech, analysis, beauty, mystery, profane illumination. These are the things. Music, art, right? All of it. Vision, beauty, cinema. We live for all of it. It's what we're here for. So, we should make it. We should be it. We all have the right to be bohemian, to be a community, to be artists, to respect each other as artists. It doesn't all have to be about money and talent and technique and who's better, who's worse, who got into the program, who didn't, who paid for the MFA, who got published where, who's on what show, who. We're just doing it. Do your art how you want to do it. Use your own ideas, use your own brilliance, apply your own ideas. Don't be afraid. Don't just copy what everybody else is doing. Don't just think, oh, well, that person did it so I can imitate. If you have an idea, just do it. A lot of comedians are all up on Instagram. Fucking Danny Fallon's stand-up special, shout out to Danny Fallon, on Instagram, on YouTube, he's got 56,000 views. He said he paid his friend to film his sets in Florida, and he sold it out 2 nights. He sold out 2 nights, and he filmed it. It's on YouTube. It's got 56,000 views. That's amazing. The most views I think on any of my videos is like maybe 9,000. My Damon's X video. For as many videos as I've made, that's pretty pathetic. I've got almost as many videos as I have. I have way more videos than I have subscribers. My one video that's been doing very well recently is this single room occupancy video. I really have no idea why. Because it's just a vlog like any other vlog. It is linked on Don Yorty's blog, his poetry blog. He linked to it. I don't think that's why I'm getting traffic. It's not from external links. I think that like YouTube is just promoting it. Maybe there's something in the media that people are like Googling single room occupancy for some reason. Like that's kind of how the Damon Zex video is. Like people know who Damon Zex is, and like they'll YouTube Damon Zex, and my video will come up for some reason, so they watch it. Maybe the single room occupancy is the same thing. A bunch of people are searching for single room occupancy, and my video is popping up for some reason. Some guy in the comments, if you look at the comments in the YouTube video, I was going to post it on Instagram. This guy had a comment where it was like, yeah, I clicked this video to watch a video about single room occupancy. This doesn't really seem to have a lot to do with that, but this young man he reminds me of myself 40 years ago in the 70s or whatever. He seems kind of sad. Hang in there, guy. It's like the point of my videos is not that I'm alone and sad. That's not the point of the videos at all. I loved being alone. I loved every fucking second of it. That was the greatest time of my life. 2021 and 22. When I was just alone in that apartment, oh my God. It was absolute heaven. It could not have been any better. It was, unless I was having sex. But it was almost worth it because being alone, I just loved every fucking second of it. I just relished every day I woke up and I just felt I'm just going to take a bath in aloneness today. I'm just going to be alone. And it's just going to be like I felt like I was in a womb or something, you know? It did have that kind of like bliss and the isolation of solitude is like a womb in a way. Maybe that's a good note to end on. The profane illumination of YouTube, you know, use your phone for good, get on, live stream, speak your truth, work on your verbal arts, your talk language, your talk art. This was a talk piece, Book TV, a la David Anton. I am not a stand-up comedian, although I do have a number of bits. So for my special, I'll do all the hits. For my comedy special, I'll do Boy Meets World. I'll do Grodin. I'll do Woody Allen. For my hour-long special, I'll do all the hits. Mr. Feeney, Mr. Matthews. People love Mr. Feeney, Mr. Matthews. All right, so please stop watching so I can relieve myself of the burden of entertaining my tireless fans out there. I'm going to eat some salami and potato chips for dinner because that's where I'm at in life, everyone. The poetry life is not easy. I haven't seen my family in almost 3 years. That's fucking sad. I don't know how I'm going to ever get back to Columbus, Ohio. I'm just going to be doing open mic every fucking... and, you know, playing the clubs in New York, playing Young Ethel's, the ones that'll still have me, the ones I'm not banned from. So hopefully someday we'll break through and we'll be playing Madison Square fucking Garden, baby. That's the, I'm trying to manifest that. Poetry reading at Madison Square Garden. Truth. We're going to speak our truth. We're going to live stream from Madison Square Garden. Someday I'm going to do a 2-hour talk piece at Madison Square Garden. Just off the dome. Freestyle. It's freestyling, everybody. Okay? You try it at home. You know, if you're reading poetry, if you're writing poetry, you're working on your verbal facilities, your ability to define things and to explore a topic, to blow out a topic into all dimensions, to spin out on that, to introduce new concepts, to non sequitur and some other thing, to collage this, to come back to it, to weave in running gags, callbacks, to pay everything off, to not pay things off, to ramble. This is Proust, god damn it. Don't you see? Don't you see? I'm in my cork-lined study. I've got allergies. My head hurts. I'm going to take a shower. Bum. Joe Franklin. You know, Joe Franklin was effusive about everybody. He wasn't a snob about it. He'd have the high and the low. He'd have Bing Crosby, and he'd have just some guy that wrote a book that was a nobody, and it never was, and it never will be. We're all human beings. It's like this. I read this Brecht quote the other day about, I'm paraphrasing, Julius Caesar conquered whatever. Who made the bread? We always credit things to one person, these heroes of history. There were entire civilizations, there were entire societies, there were armies of people, right? Who were they? We don't know their names, right? So much gets lost in ego and celebrity and branding, individual identity. And the truth is, there's 8 billion people alive. That's a lot of fucking people. Does everybody deserve recognition? Does everybody deserve to do what they want to do? Does everybody deserve their place as, a special human being? Are only some people special? Are certain people magic? Are certain people dimmer? Are certain people kind of diluted? Are they human refuse? Are they just junk? The juggalos, the Trumpers, should they just die? Or, I don't know. Are the celebrities better than us? They're taller, they're smarter, they're better looking, they're funnier, they're more creative, they're more talented. Does the cream of the crop rise to the top? Is it just a eugenic competition? And is that, is competition healthy, right? One of the things doing this open mic, there's all these other fucking open mics that pop up. Now I think there's 2 other open mics that have popped up in the East Village, like in the last couple weeks on Monday. That's competition in a way, but I don't know. I don't think in a way it isn't, because it's like WWF and WCW. You kind of need both. You need the competition. Or, like I saw the late night hosts, right? They don't act competitive with each other. Colbert will be on Jimmy Fallon's show and vice versa. Not that they're role models by any stretch of the imagination, but they're doing this podcast now where they're all doing a podcast together. It's like, well, why not, Because of the strike, right? And so, competition is healthy, right? This is what we've been told. This is part of the indoctrination of the last 20 years, the right-wingification of this fucking country. The Ayn Rand, people just accept Ayn Rand like this is a reasonable, fundamental economic thing. Milton Friedman, Chicago School of Economics, free market capitalism. Just the market has to be totally free. No government interference in any way. The inflation will get out of control. Price fixing, all that. Can't do any of it. And how did I start talking about this? Competition. Is competition healthy? Community is healthy. Collaboration is healthy. Supporting each other is healthy. But I don't know. Being honest, I guess, not bullshitting with each other. People want to get better if you're just nice to them. Is that my job? To just be the kind of introducer? People come to me for their first reading, and I'm super nice about it. And so it's like a safety. There's a safety net, I think, at the open mic. No one is going to bomb, really. We're not going to let anybody fall too hard. We're going to be nice about it. We're going to applaud. We're going to applaud the mistakes. That's something we often do, right, at the open mic. If somebody makes a mistake or forgets their line or whatever, somebody from the audience will sort of encourage them. I think that's cool, Because that's everybody's worst fear on stage, right? You're going to forget your line, or you're nervous. Everybody's fucking nervous. And so, we just want people to do their best, and by supporting them, I don't know. I believe in that kind of shit. I don't necessarily believe in competition, but I do think it's good that there's like an ecosystem. People can go to Inspired Word, they can go to these other open mics. They can do 3 or 4 open mics a night, right? Like that's what comedians do. I think that's good for the community. And making the community better makes the community bigger because more people are going to want to do it. I mean, maybe this is the last thing I'll talk about. I think the ultimate goal here is people should recognize that there is an interesting thing happening going on, and this is what a culture is, right? Yeah, maybe it's just open mics, but I don't, these are interesting shows. These are interesting performers. I think the Monday open mic is as good as any show out there, actually. We have incredibly talented people, and you're seeing their best shit one after the next. You're seeing really smart writers of all kinds. You're seeing great fucking poets. You're seeing smart comedians, funny comedians. Not all of them necessarily, but some of them. Uh, it's a lot better than a lot of the shit people charge money for, I think. And so if people can go from that to another open mic to another open mic to another open mic, they're going to get better. It's all going to get better. Hopefully, if there is a media, I don't know if there is. Hopefully, people take notice and start to think it's cool. And it's just a way of people empowering themselves, right? And it's sort of a democracy of voices. It's an alternative to the goddamn MFA programs, for one thing. If there's enough of these open mics and enough, we should be starting workshops. There should be workshops. That's all Brooklyn Poets was. Brooklyn Poets was an open mic. They started telling T-shirts and doing workshops. We should be doing workshops. Poets theater. This is something more people should move into. More people should be writing plays, making movies. It's been really fun to do this play. The rehearsal was really, really nice. It was nice. Just acting and blocking and pretending and all that kind of stuff. So it's just fun. The more ways people can be creative, like the Moldy Peaches or whatever. Adam Green, that guy makes movies. He does music. It's all just creativity. It's all just light. It's all consciousness. It's all positive. It's all growth, creativity. It's all the fruit of human endeavor, right? Is these pieces of art, the juice of a poem or something that somebody's bringing to you. We're all trying to get better at that. And, we're doing our 10,000 hours. We're in the trenches. We're in the clubs of New York. Boom, we're here. We're at Young Ethel's. Boom, we're at the local. Boom, we're at this library. Boom, we're on YouTube. Streaming live to 3 people. I got 7 likes. Holy cow. I've never gotten 7 likes during a stream, ever. Ever. Maybe after the fact, but gosh, I've got to get off here. My throat is all getting dry. I've done almost 3 hours. Maybe I should do 3 hours. Should I do 3 hours? I've still got 3 people watching. The thing is, this really increases my watch time. I think YouTube has just started to take notice of me. Maybe these are people I know, but literally the past month and a half, I've gotten more YouTube videos by views by a lot than ever. I've gotten way more subscribers, so I appreciate everybody watching. And the vlogs are meant to be slow and meditative. They're not meant to be like modern media that's super packed with information. It's meant to be like a walk. It's meant to be like you kind of meander through it, you notice things. But, it's like audio and visual, right? With the phone, I feel like as people are doing other things, they can listen to the audio. So I want to provide that experience to people. You don't necessarily need to watch it. Any of this stuff should be able. That's why I'm trying to up the audio with the open mics by plugging direct into the camera. This is something I've been experimenting with because I want it to be, professional quality audio that you can just, as you're on the train or walking around or whatever, on the treadmill, whatever you're doing, cooking, you can just put on the open mic. You can put on this. You can put on, if I record a reading or whatever, and just listen to it, and it will be, you don't need the visual per se. But the vlogs are way different, where there really isn't a whole lot of a soundtrack. The soundtrack is really incidental, and it's more like ambient. It's meant to be environmental and kind of soothing, and it's really meant to be slow and sort of a counter to modern media, which is so violent in many ways. It's meant to be full of sensation and stimulation and my vlogs are meant to be way low stimulation, slow, meditative, like a long poem. They're meant to be relaxing. That's why they should be projected. They're almost like environmental. A lot of See, I don't know if people realize that I'm working at this serious of a fucking level. When people see me at open mics, I don't know what the hell they think. But my poetry is meant to be environmental. The work is meant to be, by writing a diary piece that literally takes place at all of these open, like how many times have people seen me read from my diary by now? A lot of people have probably seen me 15 or 20 times. It's all one work. And it takes place at Pete's Candy Store. It takes place at Young Ethel's. It takes place on Governor's Island. It takes place at KGB Bar. It takes place in Central Park. It takes place in Long Island City. And so by bringing my life into the reading, by writing these kind of sonic installations, it's meant to be this long, endless thing that is like an environment. I've gotten lazy with recording stuff for YouTube, but my vlogs used to have the poem read over it, which made it that more apparent that it was meant to be kind of a total art piece, and it's meant to be something you can step into. Like when you go to an art museum and the fucking clock, right? The clock, Christian Marclay, is a 24-hour movie, and like they show it in a black box. So it's always rolling. You can go in at any time and the movie is on, and it's some part of it is on and it's interesting. But it's immersive, right? It's 24 hours, it's a clock, right? The movie, there is no time when it's not taking place. That's kind of how I want my work to be. I want it to be like you literally can dive into it at any time. It's all kind of one piece, but it's broken up into these little pieces. But it's meant to be like you walk into it like an installation, and then you walk out of it. It's not necessarily meant to be like, here's my little, crocheted hand warmer of a fucking poem or whatever. I don't know. I like the new Rolling Stones song. I don't know if people listen to it. Angry. They just did this fucking very stylish intro to their new. First of all, thank God they're recording an album. They should have been making music the whole fucking time. I don't know why they waited till Charlie Watts died, but they did this launch with Jimmy Fallon. They should have called me. Jimmy Fallon, call me. I could have been cool up there with to launch the new Stones. But I thought it was a pretty good song. I give it a thumbs up. I'm just glad they're making music. I mean, Bob's making music, for Christ's sake. Paul McCartney's making music. All right, so I'm going to go to 3 hours. I am going to go to 3 hours. But we're wrapping up here, okay? Smoke at home. This is the drinking game if you're watching at home. You have to drink every time I smoke or mention Weezer. So by now you're fucking trashed, I'm sure. So yeah, come see the Weezer play. It's natural for poets to write plays. I'm super excited I got invited to this Poets Theater event. I mean, people need to understand it is a Poets Theater thing, so I do want to maybe discuss that a little bit. It's not like amateurish, but it's not overly rehearsed. It's meant to be almost like little kids putting on a play or something. Like I really wrote the script kind of in one sitting, almost like a poem. I mean, that was Bernadette Mayer's definition of what a long poem is, anything you can write in one sitting. So that's basically what I did with this play. I do think the 10-minute play is like the perfect art form. My favorite art form is the 10-minute play. I love 10-minute plays. And I do think you should write them in one sitting. You can really write a 10-minute play in about, a couple hours. And I encourage people to do this. There should be more Poets Theater. Maybe this is something we should do at the library, is do a Poets Theater thing. But he asked me to do this months ago, and I really kind of slacked on it. And about 20 years ago, when I was in college, I wrote a skit about Rivers Cuomo. That is a lot like this play. It's weird, because it's like playing a lot of the same things. For some reason, I was fascinated with him back then, too. So this is really like almost like a remake of a play that I wrote when I was like, or it was really a skit. But now it's like a Poets Theater play. So it's like, there are certain liberties that I took with the imagination. There's crazy shit that happens, I guess I could have worked a little bit harder on the language. I didn't want to overdo it. To me, it was more about the conversational rhythms and the back and forth and portraying the characters through the dialogue, sketching a portrayal and a sort of a living biography of Rivers Cuomo, but also partially imaginary. I wanted it based on real stuff. And it's sort of a portrait of the last 30 years. You know, it's a way of talking about the way the culture has changed and things, using Rivers Cuomo as sort of, something to project that on. Or, to use the material of Rivers Cuomo to sort of like display that, right? And it's just like, I kind of look like him, so it's just kind of a funny. I mean, it just writes itself, really. We've just learned so goddamn much about Rivers Cuomo. I have to offload this information somewhere. We've been obsessed with Weezer. Something has to come out of this. We have to inflict this on the people of New York. We're evangelists of Weezer. In the cult of Weezer, we are just like really priesting it out. But they're good. I think that they are tuned in and they're undersung. They are really good artists. They're great writers. I think Rivers Cuomo is a poet and he needs to be talked about. He really needs to be talked about in a more serious way. People really are negative about Weezer and they're not actually listening. So we're reevaluating them, we're reclaiming them, we're rescuing them from the dustbins of history. And they need to be taken more seriously, I think, as artists, actually. And so the part of the reason, the play is like there's a lot of reasons why I made the choices that I made. And so, but also, it's not meant to be a professional production. We're going to have scripts in hand. It's not, like I said, it's not totally blocked out, nailed down or anything. It's not Broadway. It's not off Broadway. It's Poets Theater. So it's a fun subgenre. I urge people to look into it, to explore it more. It just takes a lot of the pressure off in a way. And you can, I don't know, you're less afraid maybe to make mistakes. It's not about psychological realism like a lot of plays are. It's not Death of a Salesman. It's not some Ilya Kazan thing or Mike Nichols thing. It's Frank O'Hara's plays. It's John. When Frank O'Hara and John Ashbery first moved to New York in the late 40s and early 50s, a lot of what they were writing was plays. I think maybe they thought they could write for television or be famous. Or maybe television wasn't around, but I think maybe they thought they could be on Broadway or be famous playwrights or something. Maybe there was a little of that. But they were also doing Poets Theater, I really encourage people to go out. They're not easy to find, but if you can find Frank O'Hara's plays or Ashbery's plays. Frank O'Hara has a play called The House at Hanging Rock or something. Then he has one called Try, Try. He's got an amazing, there's a full court press book, the plays of Frank O'Hara. They really should reissue it. If there's not a book of Frank O'Hara's plays in print, they really should reissue it because the general returns from one place to another. Taylor Mead was in the original production. And apparently Taylor Mead just improvised and went off the script a lot. That's part of Poets Theater, There can be, it's more just about, a few years ago I was at Brooklyn Art Book Fair and they did a reading of some play and it was all these artists and shit. It was all people that had presses and people who were painters and video artists and this and that. But they were doing a play, they were all reading a play and they all played different characters. And they tried to act and shit. They weren't good actors, but they were good amateur actors, and they did try. And like that's kind of what Poets Theater is. It's like an occasion. Let's get a bunch of poets together. Let's get a bunch of people together. It's a ceremony, really, And it's a place for the imagination. It's not like going to see Shakespeare in the park. It is. It's more of a real version of that. To me, this is the actual ritual. This is not some Broadway commercial theme park ride with Daniel Craig or Daniel Radcliffe. This is magic. We're trying to make magic. We're getting people that are magicians. Jason T. Cucker, Ashley, of course. These are special people. You know, that's why they're cast. They're not actors. They're not headshots. I mean, they are actors, but it's not like, oh, well, this person looks the part. It was more intuitive than that. And so I don't know. I'm feeling kind of inspired. I'd like to write some more stuff and do some more plays and films and stuff. I'd like to do some films. Maybe that's what we'll get into in the fall if we have time. You know, YouTube and my vlogs, that's my filmmaking. This is a big part of my filmmaking. This is my dinner with Andre every single time. The film takes place in here. You use your active imagination. We are massaging your pineal gland. We're giving you binaural thought, listening experiences. You know, this is a sound environment as much as anything. I encourage you to put it on your Bluetooth. Alexa, play Matt Proctor's live streams. Alexa, never stop playing Matt Proctor's live streams. Alexa, broadcast Matt Proctor's live streams on NBC. I think I need a special, you know, an HBO special, the live stream. Yeah, so we did 3 hours, wow. And I'm going to do 4 hours tomorrow. And then Tuesday's the Weezer play. Oh my God, I should have just taken a day off. Ay, ay, ay. Well, we did it. Thank you for watching. This was really an epic of the stream. Oh, I had 20% battery. Is there anything else I need to cover? Let me just go through my diary real fast, see if there's anything that pops out. Did I talk about the 678 plan? This country destroys people for money. Okay, I'll read a poem. How about that? 9-4 Pasta Void. The Weezer cruise is my midlife crisis. Luma Spicy named his daughter after his favorite coding language. Fuck the coders. Can I just say that? Fuck the coders. I don't want to do anything hard. Phone overheated from playing Weezer. How's this for arts and crafts? Elevator cunt. War is the most avant-garde. Some people shook them off. Some people dead. 9-5 Sauvignon Gray. She bought the condoms. I feel like my own father. Weed is my antidepressant. This country destroys people for money. The Rivers Cuomo sex tape in a whole series is about to drop. Maybe they didn't fire me. Yeah, so check out the Brooklyn Rail reading. It's going to drop on Tuesday. I'm happy with the way it went. You know, I thought it was a nice compilation of recent events. It was sort of the month of August. I read my Cosmopolitan Micro Diaries. Proust in miniature, that's kind of the goal. I'm writing Proust one ellipsis at a time, as we go. We're writing it as we go, as we live it. No one has ever done this before in human history. I hope people realize that. The size of my project. No one has ever written their entire life as they went and published it on the internet. No one has ever live streamed everything that ever happened to them. No one has ever put their whole life on. No writer has boldly gone into these mass media forums. You know, the telethon. How many writers have put on a telethon? How many poets have telethon? Okay, and vlogged tirelessly. So, you know, I'm hoping that people realize when they publish the captions, you know, when they publish the manuscript of the captions of my live streams, that's going to be the Proustian mega novel, okay? That's my remembrance of things past. Go into my YouTube, get all the captions. Do not change anything. I want all the glitch. It's glitch art. I want all the glitches in there. That's the poetry of it. It's like Kenneth Goldsmith, okay? This is my Kenny G book. I want all the closed captions from all my YouTube videos. It's going to be like 10,000 pages. It will dwarf Proust. My memoir, literary, autofiction, mega novel will dwarf Proust, okay? We're dwarfing Proust here on my live stream mega novel that happened on YouTube. It all happened on YouTube. My Samuel Pepys diaries, my Ulysses, my Joe Franklin, my Number 9 Dream, my pornographic phrase catalog, my allergy season, my diaries of an anonymous New York youth. Oh my God, now there's 4 people watching. Fuck. I'm going to eat. I'm going to get in some mukbang. Are you ready for some mukbang? Since there's 4 people watching. Okay, this salami has not been refrigerated for many hours, but it says refrigerate after opening. So I'm assuming that I'm going to be fine. I guess that's a big assumption. Should I Google that? Smells good. Cured meats. I read on, I did Google this the other day, so I've got Himalayan air fried kettle chips. Air fryers. Okay, apparently air fryers are where it's at, everybody. And my Genoa salami. My gabagool. The gabagool. This is a little snack for people to try at home. The Easy Paradise diet. You get some kind of cured meat. You get potato chip. And you eat them both. You get that crunch. That's why I'm going to have a heart attack. It's like a Lunchable. Remember Lunchables? Lunchables were my favorite shit in the world when I was like 9. I love the fucking ham and cheese Lunchables. What is a Lunchable but antipasti? This is my hillbilly antipasti. Get yourself some of that store-bought salami. Get some air-fried potato chips. And make stoner gourmet antipasti Lunchables. You know, I mean, I think Lunchables, that's when if I ever get successful. Gourmet Lunchable restaurant. I have 3 words for you. I have 3 words for you. Gourmet Lunchable restaurant. Tell me millennials wouldn't go for that shit. It's like arcade bars. It's nostalgia. All we know is shit that happened to us in childhood. It's the only thing we're like comfortable with. Home Alone 2 and pizza. Lunchables, all right? Foie gras Lunchable. Sopressata Lunchable. Kobe beef Lunchable. You name it. Whatever you want. Brie. Fucking Munster cheese. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done a cooking show. My diet is kind of unique because I'm poor and I have all these dietary restrictions. Like a lot of wimpy millennials. And that was one of Janine Garofalo's funny lines at this Gotham Comedy Club thing. She's like, oh, you're a millennial. What's your allergy? What's your food allergy? Kind of true. We all have IBS. Well, they were saying in this Reddit forum, there's been salted meats for thousands of years. There's only been refrigeration for, like 100 years. So they said it's not dangerous to eat the salted meats if they haven't been refrigerated. We'll see, I guess. I've already eaten half the fucking pack. 9/11. Well, I hope people stay for the whole broadcast. Only the first hour and a half was about 9/11. If you watch through the first hour and a half, I'm sorry I kept the same boring camera angle for 3 hours, but I don't think people are watching this, are they? It might be like on while they're doing something else. This is like meant to be. I'm meant to be like an imaginary friend. I guess if you don't have any, if you don't want a person around, but you like want to kind of have somebody just kind of like I said, I think just listening to somebody talk is actually a really nice thing. Not just me. Anybody could do this. I think there should be a concerted effort to like film old people talking. Get old people talking on YouTube. Telling their stories. I need to take a break before I eat this whole thing. All right, well, thank you. Thanks for watching. Come to one of the events this week. Hopefully the play goes well. I hate to end it this way. So unprofessional. Check out the Brooklyn Rail reading. Check out the summer reading list. Check out the Weezer play. Check out the library. And we have tons more stuff. We'll have a whole fall season. We don't need to work for other organizations. We're starting our own. Millennials, and I'll leave you with this. We were born into this culture of just like this hagiography of all these legendary artists and brands, and now they're all dying, right? Jimmy Buffett and Tony Bennett, mega names, right? That was the industry. We don't live in that world anymore. And what the fuck was I gonna say? This was my last thing. Oh, so we think, we need to get on Saturday Night Live. We need to go to the Poetry Project. We need to go to Second City. We need to go to Comedy Cellar. We need to go to whatever the fuck it is. Whatever your respective hallowed place of here's where the greats did it. Broadway. And to be honest, just a lot of that stuff it's not the same. Springsteen's kid is like the intern at Rolling Stone magazine. That's how all that shit works. It's all some famous person's kid or rich person's kid. And it's just like, you just got to start your own shit. You just got to build your own shit. Fuck the New Yorker, it doesn't mean the same thing to work for the New Yorker magazine or the Paris Review. You have to start your own goddamn Paris Review. That's what made it what it was. And it's not the same thing now. It's been taken over by people who are super slick at playing that game. And who wanted that stuff, who felt entitled to that stuff, and who are just like a bunch of spoiled kids who get everything they want. It's like, I don't know. This is me. I'm obviously talking to myself here. I'm trying to hype myself, but it's like, you just start your own shit. Start your own fucking magazine. Start your own live stream, start whatever the fuck it is. Start your own open mic and just get into it. Whatever the fuck it is you want to do. You know, bands. If it is in you, let it out. Let it out. You know, go to bookstores while you can. That's the other thing, that tragedy. Books have gotten way more expensive, you know. For most of my life, books were somewhat cheap. That's why I collected them. It's one of the few things I could afford to collect, really. I couldn't collect guitars or cars or clothes or anything. So I just bought paperback books, you know, and that's where my identity was. That's where I found pleasure reading. And now they're kind of expensive, you know. But that's why I'm trying to do this. That's why I made the summer reading list, the paperless reading list. The reading list of the future will all be just YouTube playlists. So we're way ahead of the curve. And my dad was right. The movie is always better than the book. Or you see what he's saying. I don't know. Anyway, we're playing with the different levels and the different dimensions of video and audio and the technology that we are offered. We are minstrels in the ancient tradition, moving forward into the new millennium, slouching into the new millennium. Thank you for watching. Come out tomorrow night. Come out to any events this week. We love you. Bye-bye. I'm at Easy Paradise, 911, 322 Troutman, Ivy House Studios on Tuesday, and Jefferson Market on Thursday. Book me. Book me on something. Send me a message and book me on something. All right. Thanks for watching.